and wonder ng gaming at esports.
Dito, naging caster si Filippo, even just for that afternoon. He met students with the same dream, attended our workshop, and we funded a tournament where they can debut.
That was Jessica's tournament. Inorganize niya ito with a student club in her campus na ginabayan namin all the way. And that's how they met. That's what we do here in AcadArena.
We turn gamers into leaders, casters, breadwinners. AcadArena. It's not just play. This is Filippo.
This is Jessica.
Going for the fifth. How many is this guy going to get before they take him out? Hypao is just dominating. He's heating up, and this is the last value one.
Tinalunan, dapat inilapit para kay Armen para patayin na dyan mga katropa. One hit kill! One hit kill! Galing kay Armen mga katropa with that sniper kill, and they're going.
But maybe go for some extra frags here as DT and spots out the Sova. Gonna get the kill. Yes, he will get the headshot.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Alliance Games featuring League of Legends and co-presented by Globe. Dubbed by the community as the UAAP of esports, Alliance student clubs from across the Philippines are #AllG to compete in multiple esports titles and represent their campus. I'm Paru and with me is Hiron and we'll be your shoutcasters for today's matches.
And it's been quite a journey for all of the playoffs for all of our Alliance games. And for League of Legends, we got through some early best of ones in the upper and lower bracket. We went through the winners semis between Oblation Esports and MGS in a best of 3, which ended up with MGS Mages being sent down to the lower bracket finals to face off against NEU Paradigm Verendus today. So it's going to be another best of 3. Whoever wins this will have the opportunity to compete live against Oblation Esports at Conquest on July 23.
Yeah, but that's not all you can do at Conquest. Meet your favorite gaming and esports personalities like Kaide, Lily Pichu, Michael Reeves, and more, and enjoy a lot of different programs and activities for all kinds of gamers. So stay tuned for more Conquest updates at the official FB page. And if you have no tickets yet, no worries, because today you have a chance to win weekend passes to Conquest by simply sharing the stream. So 5 winners will be selected to win every broadcast, so keep watching and sharing to increase your chances.
Yeah, so that's 5 every broadcast. So we got League of Legends, that's 5. We got Wild Rift, that's 5. So it's all a lot of weekend passes being given away. But on to the draft here between MGS Mages. I think, the MGS has gone onto blue side here, and a lot of bans for mages here. Well, as in the character mages, not the team mages here, as Vlad is gonna get banned out here, and it's gonna be Cassiopeia. So a lot has changed since our first few weeks, and it seems like both of our teams have been doing their homework.
Yeah, we did see Paradigm Verendus use the Vlad. Scourge was very scary on Vlad, but the Cassio ban is something new. And of course, we have Swain banned again. Swain seems to be like a staple ban in the Alliance games so far, especially against Paradigm Verendus.
Yeah, they really do not want to see Iteration have that, because Swain, is just very, very tanky. The laning phase is very good. The E has a lot of utility in team fights, and of course, the W is like the underrated star of the show for Swain's kit. You can check if Herald's being taken, check if Drake's being taken, your jungler's invading, you can use that as kind of like a little bit more damage and harass and vision to help your jungler. But of course, Victor being banned out here against Mages. We know Hillary is a Victor main since way back when. As much as I hate seeing Victor post durability patch, it is definitely something that you have to respect if Hillary is the one piloting it here. So Gwen is going to be the ban here against Shadow Blitz. Meanwhile, a lot of just solo lane bans here for both of our teams.
Yeah, that seems to be the concern here. I think one of the matchups I'm actually really excited for is the top lane matchup between Shadow Blitz and Scourge here. So I'm seeing like these picks are all they can all be like top lane flexes. So I don't know. Oh, it looks like it's a Graves pick
Graves'
for the
first pick.
Mages. Mhm.
So Graves, we haven't seen a lot of jungle Graves in a hot minute, but we have seen like mid Graves show up occasionally as
Yeah.
well. So we might be seeing that. So this is a little bit of a flex. I don't think it's the strongest flex that you could have for blue side, but let's see how Paradigm Verendus can counter this with their 1-2 punch. They locked in the Yasuo. So that comp is gonna be for Yasuo. They've already
Yeah.
shown their cards here, and they're very confident in their hand. And let's see how they supplement this with their second pick here. It's gonna be okay, classic combo.
Okay, so that's like, perfectly synergizes with Yasuo. I love how they open up with like a first pick Yasuo. Like that's a statement in a way. And also makes sense with their bans here. And it looks like a Galio hover for the mages. So it looks like it could be like a top Graves or a jungle Graves.
Yeah, I
Jungle
think with
Graves
the
setting.
I guess they're not believing too much in the flex of the Graves. I think that's valid. They said, okay, never mind. I was saying, okay, maybe mid Galio does confirm with the Graves, but this is gonna be Camille most likely in the tops. Okay, so they're still going for the Galio. They
They're
just
still going for the Galio.
baited us, I guess. But I like this, since if you're going for like something like jungle Graves, you already have a lot of damage from that front. So in your mid lane, you kind of just need someone that can respond. Maybe your Graves invades post 6, maybe a 3-man dive top side. We're gonna have to see how Paradigm Verendus finishes this in their first phase of the draft.
Yeah, and there's also like jungle Camille, which is possible. I don't know if it's the best, but
Jungle Camille is like ancient history, or maybe like playing Wild Rift from like last season. But this is a very, very solid like top side already, with a Mordekaiser being locked in here. So it's just 2 Thunderdomes on top side. There's Camille, who traps you inside a cage, and then there's Mordekaiser, who traps you in a cage.
Yeah,
so
they
it's like
just
a 1v1 city.
Yeah, 1v1s only 1v1s allowed. Okay, that's what their top lane's saying here. Okay, so the next round of bans, you've Kaisa banned.
Kaisa being banned here. So we haven't seen a lot of. Actually, we haven't seen anything at all in terms of bans against MGS. Usually, all the bans from MGS in their entire playoffs run has been solo lanes and jungle. So this is the first time that we're seeing here, because of course the solo lanes and jungle are already locked in here for the most part. So they just need their bot lane here. So a different kind of priority was being given for this first game in this best of 3. So Ezreal and Kaisa being banned away here, and Kalista, I think, is very, very solid ban here. Synergizes so well with a Galio.
That's true. Kalista, it's already hard to chase her, and when she can throw a Galio at you, that's even better.
Or whoever their support is, and then the Galio comes in, right? So very, very synergistic. So this is definitely one of those times where both of these teams didn't really focus on their bot lane in the first phase. So all of the bans are coming in for this bot lane duos here, and it's going to be Renata being banned away. And Renata, a lot of disruption. It's going to be hell to fight against if you're already having to worry about the knockups and the Yasuo ulti.
And not to mention, we did see PDG playing Renata 2 weeks ago in week 2 to great effect.
Infamous game.
Myself.
Oh Lord, I don't even want to remember. It was too crazy. But Marksman coming in, doesn't seem like either of our teams they don't seem to be the type to want to go for something like Lucian Nami. I think Lucian Nami would have been really great for Paradigm Verendus' comp, but okay, Mages? Okay, it's gonna be another combo. Instead of Lucian Nami, it's gonna be Lucian Braum.
Lucian Braum was like the original Lucian combo before Electrocute Nami was born. So they're sticking with that classic here.
Yep, definitely the classic concussive blows. Bot lane is going to be tough. This Paradigm Verendus, they have the benefit of adapting to the Braum here with their final pick. Speckles, he can go for Morgana here to just block away the concussive blows, but okay, it's a death ball comp here. It's a death ball comp here from Paradigm Verendus with the Taric ulti helping the Yasuo and the Wukong just dive in without any worries.
Yeah, the Terracolt will come in handy since PDG's comp is actually quite squishy. So if they can't go in properly, can't get the fights that they want, the Terracolt can help them a lot in surviving and getting the fights that they do want.
Mhm.
But I think the mages team comp looks pretty good to me. Like they've got a lot of damage. They've got a very well-rounded comp, and I can see it being strong in the mid game and the late game as well.
I do think that in this specific instance, I will have to favor MGS's comp here. I do think that as a team, both of these teams, Mages and Paradigm Verendus, their skill level is relatively equal. I would say MGS has the edge in terms of experience in the competitive scene. And I do think where the difference really is in terms of the drafts. I think MGS has more flexible players, which allows for more flexible drafts. We can have like Seraphine Ash bot lane coming out as well. So definitely something that we have to watch out for. Meanwhile, Paradigm Verendus, it's a comp that requires a lot of execution. Like if you screw up an engage with this comp with the Wukong Yasuo, you have nothing to stand on.
That's true, but you know, when it does work out, it's gonna look fancy. It's gonna be flashy.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I think although it could go either way here, I am leaning towards the comp of MGS. So,
But Paradigm Verendus could reach really high highs with this comp. The Taric, so a lot of pressure on Speckles here actually. And we have known Speckles to be a very consistent support, right? Like I think in his previous games with his team this playoffs, he's always with Rako, and Rako another standout player on Paradigm Verendus's team roster here. A lot of kills come from the two of them working together. So it could be top side, could be mid lane, could just be like repeatedly going bot side here, which is something that they can do. Lucian can be very vulnerable because of his relatively short range, especially without the Nami giving him that extra bit of healing and speed. The Braum is there, but if you infiltrate past the Braum, the Lucian's gonna have to use his cleanse or flash or both.
yeah, that's true. And if it is like the execution, which is difficult to pull off for PDG's comp, then I think you know we've seen Speckles do like these perfect setups in the previous week. So you know, there's a good chance that we could see it happen again, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sunako has also been on my radar. I've seen him play the Zaya specifically. His positioning on Zaya is very standout. Like, he knows when. Okay, I'm just instead of going back on this direction, I think it's better for my team if I go this way and use my feathers in that. Like use the feather storm, the blade collar in a different direction, just from instead of just retreating. Meanwhile, MGS Mages, the biggest I think the biggest factor here is going to be how much the top half of the map can coordinate with Shadow Blitz, Hillary, and Invicta, because I think that is where their strengths can lie. They can dive with a Galio, a lot of map pressure as well. Invicta can go for invades as well, especially since Wukong's clear is a lot slower in 12.12b. So I'm expecting a lot of action here from Invicta.
Yeah, definitely. For Shadow Blitz as well, picking Camille here, he's very much in his element of picking these strong, aggressive, and top laners that are known to fight and carry.
Like the Fiora, Camille, even the Gragas. He's playing like that Everfrost grenade Gragas, where you just pick someone off with Everfrost for your team, disrupt their positioning with the explosive cast. So yeah, I think MGS is in their element. Meanwhile, Paradigm Verendus here is. I'm gonna be watching Iteration Rako here because just like with MGS, the mid lane jungle synergy is going to be tested in the first game of this best of 3. So I'm super excited for how this game is gonna play out.
Yeah, I like same. Like if they pull this off, it's gonna look good, and I want that. And this is a best of 3, so unlike the previous games in the lower bracket, which are just best of one, they have like a little bit more leeway to
Mhm.
feel each other out here.
Mhm.
See what the other team is good at, what they have better than the other team.
Mhm.
So this is like, this is like a team comps for game one sort of thing.
Kind of testing the waters here.
Yeah.
Paradigm Verendus kind of revealed more cards than usual in a first game of best of 3 or best of 5, but I think that just tells us that they're making a statement here that we've clawed our way back from lower bracket to this point. We are going to get our revenge against UPD Oblation Esports. And same with MGS Mages. They got knocked down to lower bracket by the same team that knocked Paradigm Verendus down. So it's really a battle of who can get their revenge come Conquest on July 23. So I'm super excited as well. And if you're fans of the Mapua Gaming Society team of the New Era University Paradigm Esports roster here, then of course you make some noise, share the stream to get that weekend pass for Conquest. There's also tweeting about your favorite team using the hashtag AllG. So we might show some tweets on the bottom of the screen here, and you'll get like 300 pesos worth of RP if it is shown. And of course, there's the Alliance leaderboard, right? So if your team wins here, they're going to be going up on the rankings there.
Yeah, and not just that, we also want to hear your thoughts and what merch you want to see at Conquest 2022. So while we wait, simply go to bit.ly/AAXCQ merch to provide your feedback. So I checked it out earlier. There were shirts, desk mats, face masks, stickers, and more. So check out the merch, especially if you're interested in going to Conquest and watching the finals. And one of these
I
teams.
heard they have like a custom AcadArena keycap as well. So if you're one of those keyboard enthusiasts, you could be wanting to go for there. So just check out the link that Paro just said. And while waiting for the game to load in, and of course for other info related to Conquest, just check out the Facebook page for info related to Alliance Games. You'll check out the stats, articles, schedules at acadarena.com/alliance-games. So, whew. It's been a journey. It's 4 weeks in how many titles? A lot of titles, at least like 5 titles for playoffs and so many collegiate teams fighting for supremacy. And I'm just so glad to be part of like this League of Legends collegiate history. It's like a tapestry, all the way from like Garena, LCL, LVL days, and now here, just before we get to the biggest, perhaps the biggest, like esports or gaming related con in the Philippines this year.
Yeah, not to mention it's been so long as well since we've had like a LAN event, so I can't wait for Conquest. But also the fact that only one of these teams is gonna be there at finals. It's watching them all these weeks, kind of sad that I'm gonna have to see one go. But we still have like a whole best of 3 ahead of us today. So still a lot of action to watch. Yeah, 2-1. I think it's gonna be a 2-1 personally.
I was predicting it would be like a very close 2-0, but I'm sure that New Era University's comp here, our roster here, has a lot of potential to show. I don't believe that they have shown us everything that they can. And here in the lower bracket finals is the time and place to unleash the beast within. So I think PDG is going to give us a very strong game. Meanwhile, MGS, they have a lot of experience, right? They've been in the collegiate scene for quite some time. They're resilient, they're experienced. So they're going to give us a very calculated game that really shows off how much they've really gone through in the past years.
Ooh, so it's like the excited, the passionate new blood, and like the polished, accomplished. Yeah, I can see that. All right, so we're in the game now. Just 1 minute in. There have been no like really deep wards, no invades or anything.
No invades.
Yeah, just a standard start for these teams.
And it's going to be on red side, or rather bot side start as well. It does seem like it's Victa. He wants to see some blood already, going all the way to Gromp side here for Rako. Pings, he's getting question mark pinged here. Let's see if Sunako and Speckles can actually get there. It would sacrifice their position on top side. At mid is going to come in Speckles as well. And I could not see who actually got... Oh no, it was Rako. Rako got the the Gromp there. Meanwhile, I think Invicta is gonna be like, okay, I couldn't get a Gromp, let's try and get the Wolves here. There's gonna be a lot of commitment here, gonna get exhausted, gonna get the Blast Cone away. Meanwhile, it seems Depsu's using this time to really push some damage onto Sunako, but it doesn't seem like Invicta got his money's worth in that invade, unfortunately for MGS.
What an
No kills,
aggressive, what an aggressive invade from Invicta, and then the supports were able to follow up relatively fast. But then we see the health bar of Sunako right there, and that's what happens when you leave your ADC against the Lucian unattended.
It might be like some kind of gigabrain play where they have Defsu, because between Lucian and Xayah, I do think that Lucian gets better with more levels, so him getting like half a minute's worth of solo XP. Rocco here coming in, steals the blue buff away from Invicta, getting some payback. Nice ward there. The ward from earlier giving him enough vision to actually find Invicta. It's going to be level 2 Grazer, level 3, and this is going to be a very, very easy win here for level 3 Wukong, but Shadow Blitz coming in. Meanwhile, bot side fights already. Just a little bit of trading. Invicta, though, he's suffering, and Shadow Blitz is not there to help him out. Rocco having to kind of back off here, but in the end, the bottom line, Invicta, no camps taken. Level 2, he is delayed.
That's sad what his early game mistake has cost him, but you know, Graves clears, he farms, he does it relatively fast, and...
Yep, that's Braum Lucian.
Yeah, that's just Braum Lucian in effect right there. You know, just the two champions, they just synergize so well, they just lock someone down, and then before you know it, even someone as tanky as Tarek is just gone.
Yeah, good target selection as well. Like, they realize, okay, Sunako has Cleanse and Flash, so let's just go for Speckles. He uses Exhaust earlier, I believe, on Invicta, so they definitely had the advantage there. So for now, 1 kill onto MGS. They have a very, very small lead here, but the thing is, Invicta is really, really delayed in his clear. He's a little bit suffering this. Getting the Scuttle bot side is definitely a good consolation for him, but Rocco is definitely happy with the state of affairs.
Yeah, and this is what is kind of to be expected in a bot lane versus Lucian and Braum. It is very easy to just get killed off like that. You know, they are like a strong winning lane. So Rocco getting some camps in return and putting Invicta back, it's like it's compensation. You know, the gold across the score should be equal.
And Invicta has been catching up as well. Because Wukong in 12.12b does have a much weaker, not much weaker, but it's definitely felt, because his Nimbus Strike bonus damage against monsters went down like 1/4. So here, Depsu can fight it out. Rocco gonna try and see if he can get an in here with the sweeper. Sussed him out here. So not much. So the more time that Rocco spends trying to go for these ganks, the more time Invicta has to kind of catch up. And with Drake spawning right now, it's gonna be a test of whether they will go for this or not. It's a very big commitment, Mountain Drake at like levels level 4, level 5 jungler, a big time commitment. But it does seem like Invicta's going for it with priority from Defsu and Admit.
Yeah, so getting an early Drake is pretty good here with for MGS. It doesn't look like PDG has the ability really to contest them at all. So this is just a free objective for them, you know. It's like it's a cool little freebie.
And just the natural consequence of the lanes that they picked up here. Because Yasuo, by the time first Drake spawns, it's gonna be Xayah Tarek. Tarek kind of struggles, especially against Lucian Braum. Tarek kind of struggles to stay in the fight because Tarek wants to stay in the fight, stay in the front, keep trading, get those heals off, but staying near to get those get that healing off means that you're in range for the concussive blows. Meanwhile, it's level 6 Berserker Greaves Yasuo. Not gonna do a lot on the Drake side compared to Eerily, who can just like Hero's Entrance. Meanwhile, top side has been very, very chill, actually.
Wow, unexpectedly, the fights are happening all across the map except for top. Yeah, we'll see if some plays can be done around here, but in the meantime, the champions are mostly scaling here. Since, you know, champions like Graves, Yasuo, they all kind of need like a little bit of time and items to really be able to do their damage.
And top side, we might see action when Rift Herald spawns, you know. no big reason to go for a gank, I suppose, especially since it's like Wukong and Graves, right? So nothing's gonna happen if you try to gank a Camille with a P6 Wukong, and of course Scourge will have, assuming that he's trading constantly, okay? It's gonna be Invicta here, once again trying to go for an invade. You're gonna get punished here. Hero's Entrance coming in, knock up on 3. Rocco is gonna get taken down possibly. However, that was just his clone. Rocco comes in eerily next on the chopping block, but Iteration goes down. Rocco now trying to run away, gets stunned, gets killed. Speckles now in the middle of everything. The feathers getting the root out. Is it enough to save him though? Sunako trying to run away. He has cleanse, he has flash. I think he should get out of this very, very cleanly, unless Depsu comes in with all of his damage, comes in with a light slinger. Just enough. Sunako having to burn his flash. Meanwhile, topside, there was a little fight right there, but not really much happening. Just teleport from Shadow Prince.
Wow, it really was huge in that fight with the Heroes Entrance. And the taunt caught like 4 members of the team or 3 members of the team. It looked for a second that PDG was going to turn that, but in the end, MGS has the damage. They have they have the aggressiveness allowed there.
Mid as well with the Unbreakable in that choke point, which meant every auto attack, every skill shot just hits the shield right there. And Shadow Blitz, he's in the Death Realm. He has Flash though, has the hook shot, is able to escape. So pretty happy lane here for Scourge now that he has the plated steel caps. Meanwhile, Shadow Blitz is just sitting on his component items for his Thunder, I think. Yeah, for Thunder. So until Rift Herald spawns, I don't think he's going to have a lot of help up there, and Invicta is taking it as we speak. Meanwhile, Rocco posturing to try and take down Admit here. It's going to be in Iteration running into this Braum, getting stunned out. Invicta looking for these kills here. It really comes in with a Justice Punch, picking up the kill for Invicta as well, and Rocco has burned ulti, leaving that behind, giving over the Rift Herald to MGS.
Wow, I thought PDG was just going to be giving up the Herald right there, but actually taking the fight did not work out well for them either. That was like a really quick response as well from Admit, setting up these skirmishes really well.
And they weren't expecting Admit to be there. You can see just from how Iteration was walking up on that. I think he had full confidence in the control ward near Wolf Camp, behind Wolf Camp, on MGS's side, and did not expect Admit being there at all. So they're a pretty good Herald take there by MGS. An ideal Herald take, actually. You really don't want to be fighting for Herald. You just want to take it when it's convenient and when you can get it without any trouble. And PDG kind of griefed themselves there by posturing Iteration to try and contest Herald moving topside.
Yeah, it looks like PDG is kind of having a hard time going along with MGS's tempo here. Like we've seen Invicta, kind of pay for his sins a little bit in the early game with that aggressive invade, but now these plays are actually working out for him, and he's 3-0-1 again. And it looks like another play is to be made in the top side. But Rocco's right there.
Yeah, Death Realm is not yet up. It's going to take them like 10 seconds for that to come up, but I think MGS immediately signals the retreat there. They don't want to be diving a Mordekaiser when there's a Wukong there to back him up, and also when Death Realm is almost up.
So we see some... Oh, MGS has a lot. They're really taking vision in the jungle over there. The bot lane of PDG can't really contest it that much. They're kind of forced to stay, to take these safe positions for now.
Yeah, just in time for Drake, TBH, and it's Infernal. So this does mean that the Drake Soul that's gonna be contested in the future of this game is less likely to be super high priority. Like you want Hextech or Infernal to be the Rift here, but we'll see what it turns to after Infernal Crate gets taken. Rift Herald coming out here. That's definitely worth. They didn't give any kills to take that Rift Herald, so just come in, take those plates, teleports coming in here from eerily, so he's in range for the Hero's Entrance. I don't think PDG is gonna pull the trigger on the contest here. They just need to wait for Iteration to scale and for Sunako to get his first mythic. It's Ocean Drake gonna be the Rift here for our game.
Ocean Drake, yeah, not really like the soul to get here. It does help in sieging and some of these extended fights, but at the moment, MGS is just doing so well here with 2 Drakes already.
Yeah, I do think that this Rift is better for MGS than it is for PDG. MGS, as you mentioned earlier and during the draft phase, MGS has a really well-rounded comp that can brawl it out. Meanwhile, PDG has a high execution comp that doesn't have a lot of tankiness, but compensates for it by limited invincibility. And yeah, MGS is just gonna have a better time if, assuming they get the soul and the next few Ocean Drakes. But if PDG can deny them that, then of course that's good on them. Just now though, MGS, they're the ones in the driver's seat for sure. But PDG is just waiting for the chance to strike back at them with a really good Rocco iteration engage. That will make the difference.
Yeah, they haven't really had the chance to have like those big fights that they're prepared for, the fights that would happen in the later Dragons and at Baron. So far, it's been these skirmishes that have just been completely under control by MGS, thanks to, either the Galio or Admit just being at the right place at the right time. So we'll see, PDG can still make this work later on, especially once Iteration has gotten some items on him.
Yeah, and then we'll see what items that they have here. But at this point, with towers being taken down, first Mythics should be completed here for Iteration, assuming that he hasn't been missing a lot of CS here from Hillary. Meanwhile, the movements here, no big objectives to be taken here, but I think bot lane is contentious. I think a lot of pings coming in from MGS on bot side. They're kind of getting antsy to try and take that bot lane. Invicta is moving in for the invade plus the flank here. No wave from MGS. Invicta gets spotted out here. He does have Admit backing him up. Iteration right around the corner as well. Immediately goes for the last breath combo, but the hero's entrance denies it, counters it. In comes the Radiant, the ulti from it. The big shutdown going to Sunako here. That's going to be the Feather Storm coming in. Can he get the feathers out before he's taken down? No, Sunako picks up the double, and it is going to be Iteration coming in with another. So that's a 4K from PDG with no kills being traded back, and I told you, they just needed that really good engage.
Wow, Sunako's positioning in that fight was just insane. Like, dealing damage with those feathers, like, the entire time, just from a safe position there. That's exactly what Sunako had to do.
Great Speckles ulti as well.
Yeah, that was the execution. That was the right execution they needed.
And like you said, it's the positioning from Sunako as well to get the maximum value from his feathers, helping out his team. And that ends up with a 2-kill team fight here for both of our key carries here for the Paradigm Verendus side. Iteration has his Immortal Shield Bow, Kraken Slayer, and Sunako. It's going to be their time to fight now, where the gold has evened up, but the most important thing really is that PDG has their important items built up for Iteration and Sunako. And I think now NEU has a much higher chance here to really go contest the next objective. Herald's going to be up next. We see Rocco and Speckles even moving up to try and establish some control and dominance over that side. Meanwhile, MGS, they're going to be trading tower for control over the Herald. So I do think that's more worth for MGS if PDG doesn't get this Herald, but let's see Invicta taking a lot of hits.
Oh, they're just saying hi around the Herald. They're not really gonna commit to a fight right there. They don't have to fight.
And yeah, Rift Herald is really not something that you like hard fight for, because imagine you fight Herald, you lose 2 members. That's like 600 gold. Meanwhile, from Herald you get 100 gold plus, let's say, well, plates are already gone, so you're getting like a turret's worth of gold compared to 2 kills. So, and that's not even guaranteed, right? So it's good on them that they decide, okay, this is not worth fighting right now. But Drake is really something that they have to go for, because if MGS takes it, it's Ocean Soul Point.
Yeah. So MGS is gonna have to be a little bit more careful in how they play this dragon fight if they choose to take it. Now that they've seen, the damage output that NEU actually has from that fight, especially now that they've picked up their important items, like you said. And it looks like they decided to just not take it, and PDG was already in the position, and they just melt that dragon really, really fast.
hmm Seems like they want to trade the Herald for it, but PDG has already moved on to mid lane. This is gonna be bad if they don't finish the Herald immediately here. It seems like they will have to back off here because in comes Scourge. He's gonna pull in this, and in the Death Realm goes Shadow Blitz as well. Meanwhile, this fight on bot side is gonna be a lot more messy. In comes the Taric ulti into the hero's entrance. Iteration is just looking for a target. Meanwhile, Hillary trying to play frontline for his team, canceling all of that. Who got the Herald? I do think the Herald was taken by Rocco. So, big L being taken by MGS there. They got bot lane tower, and they lost their Herald there. So I guess not that big of an L, but definitely not something that they wanted to happen.
Yeah, losing Dragon and then Herald there was difficult. At least they didn't really give any kills. But, it was wise of them to back off, especially when all the members of their team were taking so much damage just trying to zone PTG off, even though they were already on it. Just trying to somehow get to Sunako, who's going to be even harder to get to now that those feathers are really hurting.
And once he gets his second crit item, it's going to be really tough. Meanwhile, MGS, they're still looking for that groove that they got. They were already trying to get into the rhythm early in the game with Invicta going very, very aggressive. He was rewarded for it, and he does have his Gore Drinker by now. But it's really tough to get value out of this Lucian when Sunako's positioning is so good and Rako and Scourge and Iteration can kind of just immediately jump on him. Which is why Lucian Nami has been more popular than Lucian Braum in the past split, because Nami just gives the Lucian everything, like speed, extra damage, and of course the healing. Compared to Admit, who really only gives just a little bit of damage mitigation with the Unbreakable. But for now, they're not able to leverage it just yet. Maybe they can find a really good in with Shadow Blitz going Hextech Ultimatum into the hero's entrance, but it's gonna be countered by Rocco Iteration if they're not careful.
Yeah, it's up to Shadow Blitz to really be the one. Like, Shadow Blitz is the only one really with the ability to dive onto Sunako like that, but then Speckles
He's dead.
Oh, well, that was a lot of damage out there for Rocco.
Oh, flash into the taunt. Good try there by Hillary. Meanwhile, Rocco, yeah, a little bit of not respecting the damage that Depsu and Invicta could bring out there, because he was in an angle for that culling. So that's one kill instead of MGS. It might not be too big of a factor in the long run, but that's something that they can get. They've been establishing really good defensive vision here, and that's how they were able to catch up Rocco. Get those small victories that build up into a big one.
Yes, MGS seems to be very good at catching the members of PG off guard. As long as they're the ones like kind of engaging and dictating the fights to take, they seem to be doing it very well.
And they have to be in a position where Sunako can't influence the fight as much, right? So maybe Shadow Blitz comes in with Hillary to try and prevent Sunako from being involved in the fight and kind of sandwich Rocco Iteration and Scourge. But here, Shadow Blitz, hookshot comes in, Death Realm blocks his escape here. He's kidnapped, teleport coming in from Hillary. That's going to be the Rift Herald being spawned as well. Victor comes in with his Gore Drinker. Nice taunt coming in, but the nice Speckles ulti coming in as well to really give them the tankiness that need, the invincibility. And it seems like they will turn the tides from there, and Victor getting knocked up as well. Second time with the Cyclone. It's going to be Admit trying to do his best to protect him, but unable to do it. Depsu is going to try as well, but too late to the party, too little, too late. That's going to be PDG coming out on top there without... That was a 4v5 essentially. They know when they're strong.
That was just an incredible ult by Speckles there. The timing was just so good, and Defsu was trying to do the damage he could. The Lucian was trying to kite there, doing a lot of damage out, but it's just not enough. And Sunako right there as well.
Yeah, Sunako just arrives in time And I think the star of the show there was definitely Speckles. I said that there was a lot of pressure on him to get his radiances out, but he has been on point. And I do think that durability patch really helps Taric out. Because back then the biggest problem is like you cast your ulti and then your team dies before the ulti pops. But now with
Yeah.
durability patch, it's a lot easier to time that. But that's not to take away from the fact that he's still the one deciding when to pop that.
These longer skirmishes, it's kind of hard to tell which team is winning at the start, because there's so many ultimates that the champions in this game have that can just change the tide of the team fight so well. Like there's Wukong plus Yasuo combo, and then there's the Galio ult, and of course the Taric ult. So a lot of these team fights are about the execution that makes it so entertaining to watch right now.
And I do think that on top of all of those, PDG has been checking MGS, right? The MGS kind of responds with a threat, and PDG says, okay, we have an answer to that, and we can counter check here. But here, MGS, they might find something really good here. They split apart the team. Out comes the Featherstorm. In comes Shadow Blitz, try and take out that Xayah, but he gets kited out. Hillary in the middle of everyone. Can't go for the taunt just yet as Iteration go for the last breath. Going onto Invicta, slashing through him. EI Jutsu admits next on the chopping block. He's going to be able to dodge, but he's not going to be able to escape the steel, the katana. Scourge comes in, trapping Depsu in the death realm with a team, his buddies, to back him up if he's able to escape. And that's team fight won by Paradigm Verendus. A shift in the paradigm here as NEU comes out on top 7-15.
Wow, so I like the idea of MGS there, which was to kind of go in between them and you force Rocco to use the ultimate early. But PDG, they just have the damage, they just have the tools to protect themselves. Like I saw Shadow Blitz trying to dive into Sunako, but then in the end it was Sunako that flashed to kill kill Shadow Blitz's Camille, and like, that's not how it's supposed to work, is it? But that's what happened in that team fight.
Yeah, and that just goes to show how good Sunako has been in terms of the positioning, where even if he gets caught out, he saves his cleanse, he saves his flash, he's able to tell when the best time to go for the Featherstorm is. And I do think that Defsu has been having a lot of trouble getting his damage out, actually. And of course, most Lucians would go for the Gale Force here, but against this kind of beefy team here, like Scourge, Rocco, they have their plated steel caps. Specifically, to get a go against Rocco, Iterations is probably going to go for his Death Stance very, very soon. The Collector lethality doesn't really do him much, and the Gale Force isn't really piercing through the targets of Iteration and Rocco, even accounting for Speckles going for the ulti and then blocking a lot of his damage. And even after the ulti comes out, Defsu doesn't seem to be doing as much damage as he should be compared to Invicta.
When it comes to the later team fights, when there's a lot of chaos, it's like Lucian does struggle a lot compared to an ADC like Xayah, who can deal more of this like reliable damage while staying safe. Defsu has no choice but to be in there in that fight to be able to deal that damage, and it's just not safe for him considering Rocco has Wukong, Iteration is on Yasuo, and they both want to be deep in the fight against MGS there.
Like, to put it into perspective, okay, never mind. There's Invicta gonna try to get away there, but good death rush by PDG. And like, to put it into perspective, Death's Grasp. If a Lucian is in range to auto attack, he's in range for Nimbus Strike and Death's Grasp, right? So it's really tough for him to actually get his damage. And then PDG, now that they have their items locked on, their second or third items locked in, they know that they're powerful at this stage in the game. They're only gonna get stronger. Meanwhile, MGS, they're still having trouble finding their footing, as Shadow Blitz didn't really get to snowball on this Camille, so he's been really struggling to get his damage out as well.
Yeah, at the current state, all of the members of PDG have bounties. They're all so strong right now, and they just have to keep this up and make it hard for MGS to catch up here. So it's going to be up to MGS to make these plays to try to catch up, and that's what they're doing here. We see early...
Big shutdown. Iteration, though, he still has the flash, but the Hextech Ultimatum's going to seal his fate. Even the GA is going to get popped as well. Who are they going to give it to? It has to be Defsu. That's good. Giving it to Defsu or Invicta is good there. Kind of iteration, really hard tunnel visioning onto the turret there. Opens up the map for his team bot side at the cost of his life. Still though, PDG is still in the driver's seat.
It's just the standard Yasuo thing, you know. Yasuos are always pushing. They all they see are the kills and the tower. It's just Yasuo things, but that's a kill that PDG can afford to lose right there.
And I do think that for the next Drake, I said earlier that Ocean Drake isn't as good for PDG as it is for MGS, but if they're taking 3 stacks of it, it will actually be very, very substantial once the fight actually progresses past the initial like Taric ulti. And it's gonna help out Scourge on his Riftmaker, Rocco on his Death Dance as well. So they're really setting up for this. Their vision game has been on point. You see all those red wards, red-colored wards on the jungle side of MGS. That has been since the past like half hour. They have been on point in terms of that vision as well.
Yeah, so setting up for Dragon, yeah, the red wards all over there. It's PDG's map right now, but the members are kind of like going towards the top side for some reason, staying around mid and top, maybe wanting to respond to the push of Irelie and Invicta up there.
It's gonna be the Baron, gonna be the name of the game here, and it has just respawned. And of course, it does seem like PDG is taking this break. Meanwhile, topside Mist gonna go down. That's pretty much going not immediately gonna mean Baron. Okay.
Oh, that was close.
Very, very close there. They are gambiting Surge here to get the 3rd stack of Ocean Scourge. He's gonna come for Defsu. Flashes over the wall here. Death Trap not quite finding it. And I think he will go down here, but not without a fight. Meanwhile, topside. There's like 3 members on this, so how's the 4v2 happening topside as well? They take the Baron. Invicta is in a little bit of a tough spot, retreating behind the first line of defense here to try and get out. He is going to be able to escape, but hot pursuit. Iteration comes in. Will the tornado hit? Comes immediate last breath. And I think PDG, they're looking to end the game from here. Meanwhile, Invicta is down. Going to be very tough. MGS has to mount a desperate defense here without one of their big damage carries.
Yeah, 30 seconds to defend their base. They might lose towers and inhibitors here. I don't think that PDG can end the game quite yet, but that was just some great plays around the map. Taking both the Dragon and the Baron, like just being able to allocate the resources right where they need to be.
Yeah, they put MGS in a position where they have to make a bad decision, right? Because life is a series of decisions between bad and worse. And they force MGS to decide, okay, if you go for Baron, it's fine. I think we can do a 4v5. Meanwhile, if you go for Drake, then we go get Baron and could possibly take down Rocco, right? They definitely got the better end of the stick, and they're knocking on the doors of MGS here. Big wave top side, Baron wave bot side. MGS is feeling the pressure.
Yeah, so we'll see if they decide to reset here or if they're going to continue the push. They do have 3 Ocean Drakes, and that is going to come in handy for this siege right here. And it's like they're not going to go home without taking the bot side tower and maybe the inhibitor. Can MGS force a fight here? Oh, PDG is...
Coming in, nice Cyclone Flash into the Radiance there. Coming in, last breath gonna take out at mid. Speckles now in the front, exhaust onto Invicta, keep his damage from coming through. That is going to be Defsu trying to deal his damage, but not quite finding it. Featherstorm coming out as the towers go down. Good zoning with the Blade Caller. Second Nexus turret about to go down. Invicta, final defense. It goes for the Gourd Wrinkler, but gets gored by the horns of Mordekaiser. And first Nexus gets taken down. PDG 1-0 in this best of 3.
Wow, the engaging like that under the tower, that's something that they could do with confidence with how well PDG has been executing these fights. And like, although I did say that I prefer MGS's comp, I also said
Same.
that I also said that if PDG manages to execute these team fights, it's gonna look really good, and it did. It looked amazing, but it wasn't just the team fights, also how they played around the map, like what you were saying, forcing MGS into to make these bad decisions or to choose their fate, essentially, which bad choice will they make. It was just so well done.
This very difficult game here for Defsu because we know Jacob Defsu to be a mechanically skilled bot laner here, but he was just not able to find his groove in this game. Like Invicta, he had a lot of trouble early game, and then he got back into it, and then struggled again to deal his damage. Meanwhile, for Defsu, it was really difficult all throughout. Like they were winning, the laning phase was very strong as Braum Lucian is, but they weren't able to find that lead, that snowball that really sends them over the edge to be able to just take over the game from there. They weren't able to capitalize on an early lead, be in the driver's seat. They kind of gave the driver's seat over to PDG at some point, and weren't able to capitalize too much on their own success.
Yeah, things were really going wrong for MGS at some of those skirmishes. Like they struggled to put out the damage which they should have with Camille and Graves. And also, the team was responding well. It's just that NEU, like PDG, they just seemed to be ahead and a lot more decisive when it comes to fighting. Like we saw a lot of like proactive plays from Invicta at the start, but then when it came to the skirmishes, you know, PDG was just ready to fight always.
Yeah, they
And
knew when their power spikes were. Meanwhile, for Paradigm Verendus, I think the hardest part was really dealing the damage before the Taric ult popped. I underestimated the Cosmic Radiance, admittedly, and how impactful it could be in the face of a well-balanced comp like what MGS got. But in the end, they just really lacked their damage. Camille doesn't really bring a lot of oomph compared to the more popular top laners like we got like Fiora, uh, even Gwen, of course, in the draft, not really available at that point. But even Gangplank, I think, would have been something that they could have brought out. But unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles for MGS Game 1. Hoping that they can recover for Game 2 and give us a 3-game series, though.
yeah, I agree. So I'm looking forward to what kind of picks. Like I feel like both of these teams mostly would play towards like late game comps like previously, and that's not what we saw this game. So I'm trying to see if the next game they'll play something that I more of expected from them based on their previous games here.
Yeah, that's just game 1. So if you're an MGS, if you're a Mapua fan, just send your energy to the team. Make some noise in the chat. If you're NEU, let's get on with the momentum in chat as well as we wait for game 2. We have been your shoutcasters for game 1. I'm Hiron. With me was Paru, and we'll be back after a very short break.
Attended our workshop, and we funded a tournament where they can debut.
That was Jessica's tournament. Inorganize niya ito with a student club in her campus na ginabayan namin all the way. And that's how they met. That's what we do here in AcadArena.
We turn gamers into leaders, casters, breadwinners. AcadArena. It's not just play. This is Filippo.
This is Jessica.
Parehong freshies, parehong gamers. Gusto ni Filippo maging next big caster.
Si Jessica naman wants to make the biggest esports tournament in their campus.
But they don't know where to start.
They're also from different campuses
In different parts of the Philippines.
they would have never met. If not,
For AcadArena.
In AcadArena, we help students meet, collaborate, and learn all the hype and wonder ng gaming at esports.
Dito, naging caster si Filippo even just for that afternoon. He met students with the same dream, attended our workshop, and we funded a tournament where they can debut.
That was Jessica's tournament. Inorganize niya ito with a student club in her campus na ginabayan namin all the way. And that's how they met. That's what we do here in AcadArena.
We turn gamers into leaders, Casters, breadwinners. AcadArena. It's not just play. This is Filippo.
This is Jessica.
Parehong freshies, parehong gamers. Gusto ni Filippo maging next big caster.
Si Jessica naman wants to make the biggest esports tournament in their campus.
But they don't know where to start.
They're also from different campuses
In different parts of the Philippines.
they would have never met. If not,
For AcadArena.
In AcadArena, we help students meet, collaborate, and learn all the hype and wonder ng gaming at esports.
Dito, naging caster si Filippo even just for that afternoon. He met students with the same dream, attended our workshop, and we funded a tournament where they can debut.
That was Jessica's tournament. Inorganize niya ito with a student.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary friends, to the Alliance Games featuring League of Legends, co-presented by Globe, and we are back for Game 2 of this best-of-3, exciting best-of-3 for the losers finals between Paradigm Verendus and MGS Mages. Of course, we're your shoutcasters. I'm Hyron, with me is Paru, and we just got back from a very exciting game, different from most of the other games that we've had in Alliance Games, or
Yeah.
post-durability patch.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was expecting very, very long games, the usual 40-minute plus game that we have been seeing a lot ever since the durability patch. But that was a very eventful, lots of kills on the board and a lot of plays happening all around. Definitely fun to watch. And we're about to begin our second game now with the picks and bans. And Cassiopeia, same ban as the last game here.
Yeah, it does seem like they respect Hillary's Cassiopeia as well, and that's got to be the fourth Swain ban for NEU this playoff. So that means that iteration Swain really is something that you have to watch out for. Has been rising in popularity a lot in like 12.12 matches in pro play. So I do understand, like, such a versatile and very difficult to kill, and with a lot of different build paths as well on Swain. Like most people would go for Leandries. I like to go the Imperial Mandate as well. So we're gonna have to see how this all plays out. Gwen being banned now here against Mages, so that's gonna be another one that Shadow Blitz cannot play. And Vlad. So a lot of respect.
Yeah, so it's back to a lot of these solo lane bans again at the start. We'll see if the picks and bans are going to go like the previous game with like the whole top side being picked first, like the top half of the map, and then a Wukong ban this time. So it looks like they're not planning to use Wukong this time either.
That
Yeah.
does seem to be the case here. Wukong, the thing with Wukong, if you're not priority picking him, he can be a very powerful swing on red side first two picks, right? Like blue side picks one, and then this red side picks two things that really work well together, and you cannot, like, oh come on, it's gonna be the victor being locked in first pick priority here for Paradigm Verendus. Let's see how MGS capitalizes on this relatively lukewarm pick from Paradigm Verendus.
Yeah, but Victor is something that we've seen Iteration play before, and it seems like the players in the Lance game seem to like Victor a lot, maybe for like the late game, the zoning, and Mages did ban the Yasuo this time, and there's the Corki that you were predicting. You're right. As it goes closer to Worlds, we see a little bit more Corki, and here's our sighting for Corki today, and Ezreal.
So they've already shown some of their cards here. MGS show very confidently with a flourish of their first two cards, play the Corki and the Ezreal. So already they're telling us, okay, we're gonna poke, we're gonna siege, we're gonna have a really good late game. Meanwhile, Paradigm Verendus, they kind of round off the first half of their draft here with, of course, still that's gonna be Sunako on his signature Xayah. Let's see if the support is also locked in as well for this one.
So Sunako back on Xayah. We've already seen his amazing performance on Xayah, this time maybe with a Nautilus instead of Turret.
It's a little bit difficult to play the Nautilus into the Ez, because even if you hit the hook, right? If he has already buffered the Arcane Shift, it's like nothing. Nothing happens. But
Yeah.
chasing him down no matter how far with Death Charge is very good in terms of team fights. It's just gonna be the lane might be hard because yeah, I was gonna say the Karma is gonna be the pickup. Or
Ooh.
okay. So they're gonna be matching the engage supports here with the Leona, which I do actually like. I would just really prefer an enchanter support here like Karma, but you know, Leona's gonna give us a good aggressive show.
Yeah, Ezreal and Leona not really the bot lane duo that you
Mhm.
usually see,
Mhm.
but I think with Xayah plus Nautilus into Ezreal, and then Ezreal and Leona is telling us that they're not really playing to slap each other much in bot lane
Mhm.
at the start. This is gonna be, for the team fights.
Mhm.
These tanks with a lot of CC, very, very good assets in skirmishes and team fights.
Mhm.
So that's what they're trying to match here. And we see a Gangplank ban for
Ooh. Yeah, I
Gang-
mentioned earlier how Gangplank is one ban that you could. Scourge does bring it as well as really high late game scaling. So right now, MGS is taking away picks that could mess up their plans in the late game, right? Like with their Leona pick, they're kind of shoehorning themselves into okay, let's get an early lead with Ezreal Leona, and then mid game we leverage the package, and then late game we have two marksmen, right? So Fiora being banned out as well against Shadow Blitz. They're gonna leave Shadow Blitz with
Gragas is still
yeah,
open.
Gragas is open. I do think Gragas is good catch there. That Gragas is very good into this comp. Can go very aggressive with the Everfrost and like blow someone up with Shadow Blitz and Invicta, or uh, knock them away with the explosive casks. But Aatrox being banned away.
Yeah.
This means Shadow Blitz is really going for the Gragas here, so we're gonna have to see how this all plays out.
Oh, and Gragas is banned, so that leaves so very little choices for Shadow Blitz here, actually.
Mhm.
To play the picks that we've seen him on before.
Yeah, I don't.
With Fiora, Gwen, Aatrox, GP, Gragas all gone.
Mhm.
Might
And
be.
which does test our top laners champion pools, right? Because I don't think Camille is it. I don't think Camille is the play here. And
Yeah,
if mhm.
we did see how the Camille struggled against locking down the Xayah, but a Hecarim pick.
Okay, Hecarim, as much as I love Hecarim, he has the times that I have seen him is very lukewarm. Like I've seen LCK Hecarim, and it didn't really give them the value that they needed. I think this was Pioshik on Hecarim. I think it was the last time I saw Hecarim in top 5 competitive. And it wasn't really the one that they needed. But let's see. With the Leona, could be a potent combo. Meanwhile, Paradigm Verendus, they see the Hecarim, they see the Leona. Trundle is the lock in here. So what's their top lane going to be? Jace.
Ooh, a
That has been
Jace.
banned against them before.
And
Very, very interesting.
okay, so a Kled, or is it going to be a Camille again? Either of the champions, I think, kind of fits with
Mhm.
the rest of MGS comp right now, which is just like we will run, we will chase
Mhm.
this Xayah down, we will chase this Victor down. The Leona, the Hecarim, Corki when he has package, they have a lot of firepower that can dive deep, and it looks like it's going to be a Camille instead. So
Mhm.
the Camille didn't do so well in the last game, but MGS may have learned from the mistakes and they have a game plan for how they're going to utilize it better this time around.
This top lane mashup between Shadow Blitz and Scourge, especially if Shadow Blitz is going Ignite here, so I think he knows exactly what he wants to do in this match, which is leverage the adaptive defenses passive to make sure that Scourge cannot trade favorably against him when he does go in, and Ignite for the kill here. Maybe Invicta's gonna come in as well with the devastating charge, and Scourge will have trouble without his Axel Gate. I assume he's going to be using his Axel Gate to poke Shadow Blitz as well, so he might not have that up when Invicta goes to gank, so that might be the game plan for MGS. Meanwhile, for Paradigm Verendus, they kind of have a poke comp here, which has less range than Ezreal Corki, but I think it's still fine. One good shock blast should take the wind out of the Defsu and Hillary here.
Yeah, and as well as they do have the tools to kind of protect their carries. They have some like zoning from the Victor, and Zaya has like her, her kit allows her to really kite, and she has her ultimate as well, which can offer some protection. And then for MGS, the members of MGS who will want to dive, there's the Trundle and the Nautilus who can kind of be the answer to that threat of diving that MGS is posing. So it's kind of hard to say which comp I like more right now.
I do say once again, I like MGS's comp a little bit more, but that is mostly coming from my disdain for Victor being picked here. I think if they wanted someone like Victor that kind of has that scales really well into late game, there were a myriad other choices here. They could have gone Azir. If Iteration plays that, right? Like, that's the in thing with mid laners, right? You play Azir. I think that would have been an option for them instead of this Victor, but it's a pocket pick. I understand that it's a pocket pick here, and we're gonna see how well this fares in the mid lane. And looking at Shadow Blitz, he really wants to go in for that kill here. Ignite teleport coming in hot.
Yeah, so Shadow Blitz doesn't want the same thing as last game to happen. He wants to get out of top lane with a lead. He wants to be the scary threat that can dive the ADC or dive any squishies. So that Ignite can help him achieve that level of the power that he needs to be the carry for MGS here.
Yeah, get those kills against the Jace. Jace not really tanky by any means. It's once you do catch him off guard, it's gonna be very easy. It's just that without the flash, Shadow Blitz is gonna have to rely on Invicta picking up the kill, and Invicta also doesn't have flash. So if Scourge can make enough space, then he's gonna be able to get away. But if he's really caught out of position, he's not able to like push people away. Like if Shadow Blitz catches him where he doesn't need hookshot to initiate the fight, I think Scourge will have a lot of trouble here. Meanwhile, for Iteration, it's really going to be a wave clear fest here to see who can go for Herald or go for Drake. I feel. I think if they wanted to go for damage to take down Hillary or Defsu, they could have gone Ahri. But I think for something like this, where you have Zaya Feathers, you have Nautilus CC, you have Trundle Pillar, I think Azir would have complemented that very, very well. But this is the Victor world that we live in Collegiate.
Yeah, and Victor and Corki, this is like a matchup that was very common like a few patches ago. So I haven't seen a lot of Corki recently, although Victor is still very popular. So it is a bit of like a farm fest, but when Corki has package, and if Victor can use his kit to zone very well, like both of these mid laners can actually turn a team fight super well, with damage output and the utility that they have.
Yeah, and that's really when the fights are going to be happening. Playing around the cooldowns here, I think, is a big thing, especially for MGS Mages, right? Playing around the cooldown for package, playing around the cooldown for Onslaught of Shadows, for the solar eclipse here, for the ulti here, for admit the solar flare. That's going to be the big factor of whether they can take Drake, and I think Drake's going to be very contentious for this team, for this match rather. And for top side, yeah, Invicta's going to have to pay some attention to that. I don't think bot lane is the play for the first 5 to 10 minutes here.
Yeah, most of the action that we're going to see bot lane is probably going to be around the dragons. For sure, we're going to see a lot of team fights around dragons. Both of these teams seem like they have very good team fighting potential, especially MGS's comp. Right there, like you said, very powerful ultimates used in a 5v5 clash.
They can get caught out of position though. And like, for example, Rako gets a really good pillar and a choke point, slows down Invicta, slows down Admit and Shadow Blitz's approach. Then they'll be easy pickings for the Shock Blast and for the Feathers coming out from Sunako and Iteration. But I think in a full-on 5v5 fight, assuming everything is equal, of course nothing's ever everything equal, but I do favor the MGS comp a little bit more once again. Of course, execution is something entirely different, and if Paradigm outplays and outpaces MGS just like in the first game, then it's going to be the same story all over again. But just from the draft, I think MGS came out on top here.
Okay, yeah, we'll see if the Sunako and Speckles duo can turn that around again. But I think that we will see a bit of a different play coming from MGS this time, since it is a best of 3, and with one game already to PDG, MGS must be feeling pressure. Like if they lose this one, then that's it for them for the Alliance games this split. So I look forward to seeing a little bit more calculated, a little bit more polished than their previous game. Don't let PDG outplay them or execute their comp just on them like that.
And that's really the difference here. It's really a test of whether this MGS roster, we made the analogy of them being like polished gems here. So it's really going to be the test of whether their experience has turned their experience and in the competitive scene in collegiate has made them into polished gems, or whether it's just made them into like fossils, right? Decrepit fossils.
Ooh.
And that's gonna be something that they have to be facing in this match. So this is bigger than just going to finals for MGS. For MGS, this is like a test of whether this roster has stood the test of time, because they have been together for quite some time now.
So they have something to prove in this game, not just to get that rematch against Ablation Esports, but also for everybody who's watching, and all of their supporters as well. So get into the game now.
No
course.
big level ones. I don't think either of these
Yeah.
teams really want to go for a level 1. Both of them are really bad at it. Or the comps rather, not the teams. But we're gonna have to see how this all plays out. Once again, bot lane start here. I do think that Invicta's not gonna be as aggressive going for those invades, seeing as Hillary is not really a mid laner that can afford, or this Corki isn't really a mid laner that can afford to answer your invade mid and get away from his farm compared to a Galio.
Yeah, Corki really, really needs that farm. To get those items. Like Corki's like one of those champions that like when they power spike, you feel it. But in the meantime, like they really just have to sit in lane and farm.
For now, though, I'll be clear on Hecarim. Not the best, especially in these single target camps like Gromp and the buffs. But he's moving on. He's moving on, and I think the play really here is he's just gonna go full clear here to try and reach level 6 as fast as possible. This top lane is playing out as expected, with the range matchup being a little bit difficult for Camille until he reaches level 3. I think is the spike here for Shadow Blitz.
And some small trades happening in bot lane as well. Although, like, I don't think we're gonna see like some big 2v2s at bot lane. Once the junglers finish their initial clears, a gank could definitely happen here, as both supports, they do have the CC to set up these ganks.
They do have. It's only going to be a little bit difficult for both of these, actually, but it might end up being a fight. Rocco gets the jump on Invicta, plus a Shock Blast, having to ghost out. No flash means, okay, can they get the kill? Invicta needed to take a detour. First blood goes to Iteration. And that is very, very unfortunate. Invicta walking, face-checking into that brush here costs them a huge, huge first blood.
Yeah, and Shadow Blitz was he had a wave right in front of him. And Camille still having a hard time against like the rage top laner in Jace there, so it was just a bad place for Invicta to be, especially since both of the PDG lanes had prio at that time.
And Iteration was able to pick up double buffs as well. I was about to raise the point that Iteration goes Biscuits in this matchup. I don't really think Biscuits are necessary, even against a Corki. I think he should have gone Futures Market, maybe get an early loss chapter, but with a kill, he doesn't need the Futures Market now, does he?
Yep.
And Invicta desperately trying to get back some advantages, but he's getting punished here by Rocco, getting pushed out of the enemy jungle.
Invicta having a hard time again. You know, just like the previous game, the early game jungling, invading is a little bit difficult. With PDG's fast response here, that they're their lane prio and everything.
Getting delayed as a Hecarim is like everything. That's like if you die and lose progress on your Hecarim, that's like 2 minutes or more of you not getting your Onslaught of Shadows, which means 2 minutes where Rocco can kind of gank without the fear of being counter ganked with that Hecarim ulti. So Invicta though, he's still trying. He's seeing if bot lane is a viable pickup for this one. But it does seem like Sunako and Speckles are posturing quite safely in this bot side. Invicta in the nook and cranny here. Yep, not gonna amount to anything. Just gonna have to go back, take the L, get his camps, maybe take Drake.
So not the most ideal start for MGS right now.
Top side as well.
Yeah. Camille taking Ignite means that, kind of expected to win the lane here, but having a hard time against Scourge.
He really needed that initial gank here from Invicta, because if Shadow Blitz can get on Scourge, it's so easy to get the kill with Ignite. Because you look at that was that 1 damage. Nice smite there coming in, but that's nice damage coming in from Shadow Blitz, right? From single combo. But in F-Suit getting booed, has to flash over. That is going to be Admit trying to go onto Sunako, but his positioning is quite immaculate, and the cleanse is also on the ready as well. Defsu lose a trade. In comes the dredge line in. Sunako, can he get the feathers out for snare? No, but they have prio. They definitely have prio, which is going to be important for the next few minutes in this Drake.
So bot lane right now, both of the supports have the CC, but both of the ADCs also have that safety with Ezreal's E and Zaya
That was
just being
close.
in general. And yeah, that was a very close hook. So we'll see. Shadow Blitz is level 6 now, and Invicta hovering top. But it looks
But
like
the vision.
yeah, it looks like there is no opportunity for Invicta and Shadow Blitz just yet.
Yeah, that was a very good preemptive vision there by PDG. Catches out Invicta, which clues in Scourge, okay, to back off. Because if that fight broke out, I think that would have been pretty good for Shadow Blitz. Because Scourge was just sitting on like 2 longswords and a Tear of the Goddess. Meanwhile, Shadow Blitz already had the Sheen. Him and Invicta both have the Sheen, so I think it would have been a pretty decent fight up top. But Info is the king of this game, and PDG had the info that they needed. So it looks like the next course of action here is going to be around this Drake after camp spot are cleared, after bot laners have recalled, gotten their items. There's going to be a fight for this Drake, most likely. Well, Dredge line on to Admit here. In comes Invicta. They're going to get pincered here if they're not careful. It seems like they're going to be gambiting Admit here, but they don't really have a lot of backup as Defsu is not there. And that's going to be Iteration picking up another kill.
Admit going a little bit too deep there. I think they were just trying to set up vision for Dragon, but the CC on the side of PDG is no joke. And no items yet on Nearly, and Defsu still not in position. They just really couldn't save Admit there.
Which actually baffles me here, and that they posture aggressively around that side, right? Like, Admit wasn't just there to deep ward. He didn't even put down a ward. He just went in or on that, knowing that both bot lanes have recalled, but Defsu is far away. So they were expecting like a 3v3 to happen, but they were kind of split apart. They were in danger of being pincered here. Like we saw that there was an attempt by Invicta to kind of like they were getting pincered, right? So they kind of like push out the claws and try to get the victor out of the way. But to do that, they had to gambit the Leona, and the gambit just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, I think MGS has to be choosing, how they position, like how they go forward like a little bit more carefully, since they do need some time to scale. Like their main damage dealer would be the Corki right there, but not that much damage yet. And Hecarim is still a little bit behind with no ultimate available, so I think they should be playing a lot more safe.
Yeah, and
Taking that into consideration.
that's the curse of the Leona. If you get behind, you're screwed, right? Not even alone as just, okay, it comes Invicta here, gonna go for Onslaught of Shadows, does still get the Fear X-Tech ultimatum comes out. This has to be a sure kill. No flash on this Jace means a kill gets traded back. And Invicta, and Shadow Blitz kind of picking up some kills for that. I think there's a little bit of a visual bug in the scoreboard here, but no matter. That's still a kill onto MGS here. As for this bot lane, as I was saying, Leona is pressured to make a lead early, and if he's being denied by this Nautilus, it's going to be very difficult. That's why I was like really calling for an Enchanter support, because if you're an Enchanter support, you can just chill. You're not pressured to make any big kills, unlike Leona. Here, Hillary, he has his flash here, but he's going to get immediately Death Charge. Flash is over as well. Featherstorm from Suniko, but Flash is going to save Hillary.
Yeah, that was a smart choice. Flashing right behind the turret so that the Speckles couldn't combo it with the hook. But so that's Flash Burn, and we see Rocco trying to get a return kill from Shadow Blitz, and that is a lot of damage, and I think the burn might be enough. Oh, and that's a flash to kill Shadow Blitz there, taking kind of a return kill from earlier.
Yeah, essentially just trades it back, but that was a solo kill. Shadow Blitz had no escape there, no flash, not even hookshot could save him. And I think that's just the reality that Camille lives in 12.12, where she just doesn't have enough going for her compared to her contemporaries, right? Like, there's in our top lane we have, like, of course, a lot of the top laners were okay. It's gonna be a stun here, Scourge. Maybe they can get a revenge kill here as Admit comes in for the kill. They get another kill on Scourge. That's good. Will they take over top side here? Doesn't seem like they are willing to take that risk. They just need to get those kills and then get out.
MGS and PG are really just trading, like giving their top laners like some time in the fountain right there. You know,
Yeah,
like, and that works out. That works out fine for them though. Shadow Blitz is getting the lead that he does need, that he was expected to get with the Ignite. And I liked how Invicta, I was saying how without the ultimate, he wasn't really doing anything, and as soon as he got the ultimate, he was able to make a play in the top side, although Rocco was able to equalize it.
Goodbye. I think he's gonna get a lot of things committed here. Can they get the return kill on Rocco? Nice exhaust there to prevent that little bit of damage that would have finished off Rocco. And of course, once that happens, Triumph triggers to get the mid lane. It's gonna be a true shot barrage, not really doing much. Invicta, a little bit too late for party. So even with those kills being given to Shadow Blitz, it's really not enough. Invicta goes in early here as his friend teleports, but looks like it's a little bit too late. Gets knocked up, gets pillared. Just one more shot. Rocco picks up the kill. Enraged has to flash forward though. Looks like he will be killed here by Hillary, and it's a big shutdown on this Corki. Very important, very vital gold here being taken by MGS. Still quite behind, but that is going to remedy a little bit of their problems.
Yeah, that didn't make it completely even. That wasn't like extremely worth it, but it was something, and MGS needs to stack those little somethings to get back here.
And I do think that later in the game, man, I can't say for sure. Earlier I was very confident they picked like Ezreal Corki. I was like, okay, they just need to wait late game. They're gonna pick an Enchanter support and take over late game against like Victor, Xayah, Nautilus. But they locked in the Leona, they locked in the Camille, they locked in the Hecarim. I think the Hecarim's fine. It's just that I don't really see much value in the Leona here, because, like I said, I think they're really much better off. I think MGS thrives when they're holding out. They're holding out and they're being given opportunities, or rather, they're taking opportunities to flip the game in their favor late game. And Leona is not that kind of champion.
It's true, Leona's there to dive, and it looks like that's what they're gonna try to do here in mid lane. That
Easy kill there for Hillary.
so Iteration wasn't even extended there, but just with the Corki package and then the ultimate from Hecarim and Leona, like these champs can really do so much. When they have that setup, they can really lock down someone and just make
Rocco
iterations
though,
like
that's
that.
gonna be nice solar flare coming in. They secure the Drake though, but they're kind of stuck in the Drake pit. Sunako dealing a lot of feather damage coming out, but Hillary comes in for the save. That is gonna be a 1-for-2 plus the Drake in favor of MGS. I think that is a lot of gold being concentrated on Hillary and Invicta, so that should be fine and dandy. And this 1k gold lead should be very small as the game goes on.
Yeah, it really is powering up as these trades happen. This Corki is going to be scary. Only 14 minutes in, but this Corki is already looking very scary. And top side, oh, no engage there.
Yeah, that's really the problem. If you use your hook shot to go in, he can just hammer you away. That's really the problem there. With that, he needs to find. He's never gonna find it on his own. He needs like Admit or Invicta to do it with him. So it's gonna be very difficult unless he's willing to commit the ulti. Scourge is gonna push him away.
We see Admit and Shadow Blitz
They're
and
waiting.
Invicta invading here, trying to pull something off. They capture Scourge here.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to get the kill here. Maybe. Oh, and they don't have the flash to go over. How tragic. Oh no.
That's a shame. Shadow Blitz had Ignite available, I think, but I don't think that they expected Scourge to be able to, survive long enough to flash over the wall.
Yeah, they didn't have a ward active as well. Like a ward into Ignite would have done it as well if they weren't expecting to have to commit the Ignite, but a little bit committed. They didn't really lose anything much from that, but they're going for it. Slow coming in as well into the devastating charge. Immediate kill onto Iteration, and Rocco gonna pull out the Subjugate. Now the rest of his team is gonna follow up. Speckle's looking for something here with the death charge. Admit is gonna be one that gets caught. Hillary unable to deal his damage right now, fast enough to save his buddy, and now Admit's gonna go down 1-for-1.
Yeah, that was 1-for-1, but they did take Iteration again, and I feel kind of bad for this Victor. As a Victor, what can you really do when a Hecarim and a Leona ult is, when you're prime target of those skills?
Well, that's a Victor moment, but he still has 3 kills and 2 assists on in his pocket, so he should still be in a relatively good spot here. But Hillary has been playing very, very safe as well, has not letting his kills be punished as much, so he's just gonna be in his lane, thriving here. Meanwhile, Iteration, he's already completed his Ludens here, is well on his way with his Hextech Alternator, so I think he should be useful in these team fights, especially on Drift Herald. But the question is, do you fight for Herald? Because it's so easy to make Herald not worth.
And I don't think MGS really has the ultimates available to let them contest this, so it looks like they're just gonna give it, maybe set their sights on the mid lane tower instead.
That does seem like it, but they're taking this relatively slowly. Nice laser there from the Victor, denies them, delays the push, and it's gonna be Iteration saving this this mid lane tower's hide, and it's gonna be a well worth Herald here by PDG. Yeah, it does seem like okay. It's not just the opportunity cost, right? I do think that was worth it. They got it basically for free. Sunako, rare moment of him being out of position here, is gonna get pushed in. Admit picks up the kill, and that is gonna be them pushing down this bot turret. So
yeah, Sunako really caught off guard there, accidentally, checking a brush, face checking a brush into a Hecarim, and that's not what he wanted.
And for the most part here, he should be fine. I think. Okay, props to Iteration. He made that Herald worth it here. Speckle's gonna engage here onto Depsu while they're playing keep away. Admit has to flash over. Rocco flashes in the wrong direction. Now he's gonna be stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Running away. In comes Shadow Blitz, gonna go for the Hex Ultimatum or the kill here onto him. That's a pretty decent shutdown. Meanwhile, Depsu, Dredge Line is gonna go onto him, but his Mystic Shot hits true. And that is going to be MGS picking up these kills, trading back all the objectives that PDG got. and they still have all these turrets standing to pick up in the next few minutes. So that's like an additional 2 turret gold in the next like 2 minutes at least.
Yeah. MGS did commit a lot to that. All 5 members were right there in bot lane. I don't think PDG expected that level of commitment to, like, I don't think they even thought that the bot lane was going to be dove like that. But that leads to a dragon for MGS here.
Yeah, it's a good first 2 drakes here for MGS. They got Mountain, they got Infernal, they got the volcanic action going on. This is going to help them with how they want to play this, which is, well, it's just 2 big stats that every champion needs, which is attack and defense here. Haven't quite found the footing to take bot and mid turret, but so far it looks like PDG has been responding quite well. They're going to be picking up first turret here. Pretty decent gold boost, bot lane as well. And they still have the Rift Herald if they want to leverage that onto top side or onto an inner turret.
Yeah, as of now, the game's still looking very close. There isn't really a team that has like a very substantial or obvious lead right here, or like an advantage so far. But they might be trying to catch Devsu off guard here.
Oh no, that's going to be Death Charge. Flash over the wall as well. Good flash there. That was definitely value.
That was such a good flash from Devsu. Like, when you see a situation like that, it's like you would kind of think that it's a free kill. Like, yeah, it's an Ezreal. He has the E. He has flash, but that actually worked out very well for MGS, sending 3 from PDG and not being able to get the kill.
Yeah, they can't really get anything though. They could push in mid lane, but it's easily gonna get cleared by Iteration. He's been keeping this turret alive since Rift Herald. They couldn't really make something happen topside with the tower either, so no big cost there for PDG to go for that kill on Depsu. But it's so easy to say, okay, he just flashed, wow. But it's actually really easy to screw up a flash over that wall, where if your spacing is not correct, you're just gonna flash into the wall. And the alternative is flashing straight backwards, which is so easy to catch up to. So props there to Depsu.
Yeah, if he just flashed backwards, that would have been an easy chain for Speckle still. So that was the only way he could have escaped that, really, and he caught onto it quick.
But Invicta, he's kind of redeemed himself from his earlier blunders. He has been giving really, really good ganks against Iteration and bot lane as well, and now they finally pick up the gold mid lane. They're not able to pick up the gold bot lane just yet as Sunako is split pushing, but they might be able to get this top side with the Demolish. And if they're gonna straight up dive this Jace here, not give him any room to poke, no room to go into the skies, they're gonna be picking up this turret and a kill. MGS, I think it is a good position, but PDG, they're still in it as well.
Yeah, they're still in it, but if you see the scoreboard right now, all of the carries of MGS have these bounties on. They have so much gold on them right now. They're just ahead. They'll be hitting their power spikes, and
Defsu going over as well. Good shut down there. There's 500 gold onto Sunako. Meanwhile, Defsu is able to trade back the kill. It's essentially like a 1-for-2 across the map here. Meanwhile, Admit he has not been having a good time here, but the Iteration, does he have enough damage with his Chaos Storm? Just one more tick. It's not enough.
Admit it's his lucky day today, and he barely survives. Yeah, PDG gets the turret right there.
Yeah, PDG, despite not getting the kill on Admit, it still gives him enough space to get topside, not to mention the inner turret taken by Sunako, all by himself. So that all of that gold from those waves, from the turrets, concentrated onto this Xayah. And it seems like he is going for more of the lethality Xayah here with Eclipse instead of like crit Xayah, which is still valid. It does punish Shadow Blitz and Invicta really, really hard if they go in without backup from Admit. So this is gonna be really good game, very close game so far. No big team fights just yet, just small turret takes and like 1 or 2 kill skirmishes. But Drake,
This Xayah build might have a hard time later though, since both Hecarim and Leona get pretty tanky later on. It's
it's gonna
not
be
the
a lot.
same build as the previous game, you know, when Sunako could just free hit with a Kraken Slayer and do tons of damage. It
Mhm.
might not team fights might not turn out the same way this
Mhm.
time.
And he's gonna be have to be a lot more aware of his positioning on this kind of Zaya build as well. But I guess he's building for now instead of later, because ideally PDG with his comp, they might want to beat MGS before 30 minutes, right? That's ideal. If the game reaches 40 minutes, it's gonna be very difficult for Sunako to really bring out the damage here against compared to Hillary and Defsu. Okay, Mountain Break is gonna be the next break here. Second stack is big, and that's going to be sole point if MGS takes this. So let's see, PDG, this is where they shine. Shot blasts, laser beams, feathers coming out, dredge line going in onto Hillary. In comes Hillary with the package, has to flash over, gets taken out by Sunako now. Invicta getting taken down. That's going to be Iteration getting exhausted as well. In comes Shadow Blitz from downtown. Defsu unable to finish the kills here as Rocco picks him up. That's going to be Adaptive Shield, trying to keep him alive for a little bit longer. But that is going to be PDG coming out ahead there with a 2-for-4 Shadow Blitz. Is he going to go for Rocco? Nope, nope. But let's see who got the Drake there.
Yeah, so it was a blue team. Rocco was able to secure
Mhm.
the dragon during the entire team fight, which was very, very chaotic. It's like PDG was kind of dancing around while MGS had the dragon up to full health. But as soon as Speckles landed that hook, they all
Mhm.
just were able to, decisively just jump into the fight and were able to win it.
Yeah, that was a crucial mistake there by Hillary to get caught by the dredge line. That should never happen when you're taking Drake. You should be positioning away from where you could get hooked here. That's pretty big. And he had to go for a desperate package here, which kind of ended up in his death because he's in the middle of everyone. He gets flashed on, but so that's going to be equal Drakes for both the teams, and PDG, they're going for Baron play here. Lots of pings coming in from MGS. They don't have vision, but they have an inkling of what's happening. Shadow Blitz has teleport. PDG, are they going to be taking this? Invicta, he wants to go in. They're going to rush in onto Iteration here, make this a 5v4, cancel the Baron. They're going to be able to pivot onto the Baron themselves, pick up where PDG left off, instead of going for the turn. Now this, once again, this is where PDG can shine. Shock Blast coming in. Can they do it? Admit though, Hillary playing keep away.
Yeah, it's so hard for them to really go in and take the Baron attempt back really early, right there. Belting them with those rockets, especially when it's a 4v5. You know,
Ooh.
I don't think PDG really thought that Baron call well out. I think they were trying to take advantage of it being very unexpected,
Mm-hmm.
but MGS caught on very quickly, and their team fight is just as strong, if not stronger, than PDG's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And at this point, yeah, I think they were banking on, okay, they don't have vision here, they're not going to expect it. But the thing is, they didn't set up any waves, they didn't set up any ways to make MGS not expect the Baron play. They just went in it as is, and MGS immediately picked up on it. They're taking Baron, and on a non-crit Zaya, even with the Trundle, it's gonna be a relatively slow Baron there. So the big punish immediately after taking second break here. Now they're gonna try and go on to Admit. Defsu is gonna try and play keep away with his team here. Admit coming in with his Zenith Blade. Speckles now caught between a rock and a hard place. In comes the Solar Flare, getting the big stun onto the Rocco. But Invicta, in comes Iteration play for his team here. He's a little bit in the front lines, gets Hextech Ultimatum as well, has to get through. Big one hits onto Rocco, and another onto Iteration. That's 2 kills for the Corki. Shadow Blitz diving in, big shutdown going to Scourge there, but eerily, he's going to be trying to get that next kill. Invicta charging in, nope, he still wants to live, goes for the turret instead, and Inhib goes to MGS.
Early is doing so much damage now. Like, just, staying out of range and throwing all of those rockets, like, from a safe spot. And while Admit and Invicta can just be in the front line and they soak up all of that damage, MGS is playing this so well, and they're able to make such great value out of their Baron.
Mhm. And now is when the Leona is paying off, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, okay, maybe they'll have trouble getting ahead because of Leona, and it's because they don't have the enchanter like Karma, but they're playing to the strengths of the champion. They know that Hillary is like almost getting 10 CS per minute. Right? He's like the most CS out of everyone here. So they go straight for it. They capitalize on PDG, making mispositioned plays, and then go straight for it with Invicta. And I think they're really, despite having that Leona, admit kind of getting caught a lot, they're really
Yeah.
playing to the strengths of their comp right now. And this plays into what we
Yeah, I think Admit actually got caught on purpose right there. You know, walking into the
Bait.
bush with Speckles like waiting there because he actually has stopwatch to buy time for the TP. So I think it was
Literally
all
by time.
yeah, it was all orchestrated this time. Admit was done getting caught. This time he catches them.
he morphed out with that stopwatch there. It's going to be the Drake. Third Drake, and PDG is not in position to take this at all. They're gonna have to give this and concede soul point pressure for MGS here. And 2 mountains gonna be big here. Invicta and Shadow Blitz are gonna be, and especially Admit, are gonna be a little bit more resilient going in. And kind of the cracks are showing in PDG. We discussed this earlier, right, Paru, where I mentioned how PDG compared to MGS, their leads that they get it when they're ahead, and they get it decisively and when it's kind of easy, like in game 1 and in all their previous playoffs games. But MGS, their leads are usually hard fought, which means that they put in more effort, and their leads are more from when things are close. Things were close earlier, and they're making that gap using their experience.
Yeah, MGS seems to be very excelling very well at tight moments such as this. And PDG, I can feel like their pressure here. Like they know that as the game goes by, they're just gonna have a harder time with that Corki, and plus Sunoko's build is not exactly the best for
For
late
shredding
game here.
tanks, yeah.
Yeah, so PDG is feeling pressured, and they're trying to make these plays like the Baron attempt from earlier, or even just trying to catch Admit out in the mid lane, while knowing that MGS has Baron, and for sure they're going to be grouped up there. So I think they're kind of struggling now, trying to see how they can still get back in the game, which looks now like it's in MGS's favor.
And Invicta looking for it with Admit. Scourge has to be very careful. Speckles here for the backup. But it does seem like PDG, right now, in the past 2 minutes, they've been responding to MGS's rotations quite well. So they are keeping pace. Scourge, though, getting caught out, does have the stopwatch to prevent him from being killed outright. Teleport coming in from both Iteration and the Shadow Blitz, but Speckle's gonna go down really, really fast. In comes Invicta, diving a little bit too deep, going for Scourge here, gets knocked away, giving his team some time to get the turret, sacrificing his life for it. This is gonna be a 4v4 though, but Depsu and Hillary, they're dealing a lot of poke damage. Iteration has to flash away. Wave being cleared here by the Xayah. And that is going to be Sunako here, saving this turret's life for a little bit more. MGS playing with fire, waiting for the next wave here. Speckles still 15 seconds. Solar Flare not hitting. Rocco coming in as well. Turret, that's going to be the pillar. Not coming through, but Scourge, he's looking for it. Has to be careful. And Rocco, let's see if he will run interference. He's asking for backup around this tri-brush, but I think they're just going to have to stop, back off, and let MGS reset.
Yeah, I don't think that was a fight that PDG could have taken as well, but they were able to push MGS off of that wave, and I'm actually surprised that MGS still stayed that extra wave to try to do some tower damage. It could have gone very wrong for them, but they were able to get home in one piece, back home to push another day.
Yep, set up for Baron. They do have some vision here. PDG has been doing a decent job at their own defensive vision, but now is the time for proactive vision here around this Baron pit. And MGS has that. They have that around behind blue buff. It's not the best, but they have set up beforehand, so they kind of know where PDG is while they're dancing for this. Here, Hillary has teleport, so he's just eating up. He's like gobbling up all these waves, man. He's like, once again, still meeting that almost 9 CS per minute coming in as well.
And with
so
package available, with package available, I think a Baron fight would be very dangerous for PDG. Unless they do
Oh,
the
that's
right
big
map.
though. Shadow Blitz immediately going for Golden. Defsu immediately takes out Sunako. That's huge. Speckles is next on the chopping block. Invicta chasing him down. Hillary almost being taken down by Iteration, but the fight is split. The formation is broken, and Hillary and Defsu come out ahead as Invicta comes galloping down from the jungle, the cavalry, to take down this inhibitor. 30 seconds on the death timers. We've got two two Sheen bearers here, Invicta and Defsu. We've got Hillary on his Corki. This is a done game, and we're going to game 3.
Yeah, it looks like this was a great performance by MGS. We're gonna give us a series.
Definitely a series fit for lower bracket finals, fit for vengeance against the first finalist that we had, Oblation Esports. They're hungry for this victory. MGS proving that they are polished, proving that the time has not eroded their skill. And meanwhile, PDG struggling to find their footing in the second game.
Yeah, this was the different sort of gameplay that I kind of expected from MGS coming into game 2, because game 1 is game 1. It's a best of 3.
Yeah.
Game 2 has a lot more at stake, and I expected MGS to play a little bit more carefully, a little bit more calculated, and they were able to bring that, because there were times in the early game when PDG was the one that was ahead, and in the early to mid game, like the tides actually turned in either team's favor quite a lot. But in the end, they were able to persevere and take that lead and just hold on to it for the rest of the game, just giving themselves that win. So the next game, of course, I think PDG will have to step up
Yeah.
now that they've seen MGS what they can do.
And MGS really showing that they, in a tight situation, in a situation where it's very close, 50-50, they have the means to force it to become 55-45 in their favor, 60-40 in their favor. Meanwhile, Paradigm Verendus, if they're not being given the opportunity, being given the lead, so to speak, they kind of have trouble finishing the game or getting or converting something from that. They're good at capitalizing on mistakes, but if there's less mistakes being made, they have trouble forcing their own openings. So I'm hoping that they're going to be able to make that happen in Game 3. Meanwhile, for Mages, they've got the momentum on to Game 3. Really, really excited for this lower bracket finals. But of course, let's take a short break, take a short breather for both of our teams, all of our viewers, to prepare for the final game of this series. We have been your shoutcasters. I'm Hyron. With me was Paru, and we'll be back after a very short 3-minute break.
Nowadays, everything must be done virtually to contain this virus, which reduces the efficacy of learning compared to face-to-face, which also affects our mental health.
The hardship I face sa ngayon is yung lack of income sa pamilya namin. And nung nagsimula ang COVID, naapektuhan talaga kami kasi nag-lockdown at kailangan mag-cancel yung mga schools. Tapos ko halos lahat ng subject except dun sa aking thesis. Naiwan ko siya kasi yun nga, dumagdag sa isipan yung stress na nasa linya na kami nang nagigipit at maayos lang.
Hindi lang naman streaming and studies yung meron dyan, meron pa tayong relationships and all.
I got in the Supreme Creator Grant and I am deeply overwhelmed,
Which really helped me a lot and my family back then when I started up.
So, ano ang motivation mo pa sa pag-stream and paggawa ng content?
Nung bata ako, na-inspired na talaga ako ng mga content creator natin dito sa Pilipinas.
Ini-encourage nila ako and binibigyan ako ng mga ideas sa paggawa ko ng content.
And wanted to also enjoy what I also love to do, which is the reason I've come across and explored this path.
For me, being able to stream is a privilege.
I like doing it because aside from playing games that I enjoy and showing it to the internet, I get to support myself and my family.
And I'm still shocked that gaming actually has been recognized as something as a skill, as something as a job.
So, ngayong award din ako, message ko lang sa mga ibang content creators dyan.
Be consistent lang and maniwala ka lang sa sarili mo.
Eventually, when the time comes, maglo-look up sa'yo ang maraming tao.
Mabubunga din lahat ng pagtsatsagaan.
Always do your best, guys.
Kayang-kaya nyo yan. Sakto, AcadArena has your back.
Stay humble, stay hungry, and keep grinding.
Cause that's what I did.
Reign supreme, not just play.
This is Filippo.
This is Jessica.
Parehong freshies, parehong gamers. Gusto ni Filippo maging next big caster.
Si Jessica naman wants to make the biggest esports tournament in their campus.
But they don't know where to start.
They're also from different campuses
In different parts of the Philippines.
they would have never met. If not,
For AcadArena.
In AcadArena, we help students meet, collaborate, and learn all the hype and wonder ng gaming at esports.
Dito, naging caster si Filippo even just for that afternoon. He met students with the same dream, attended our workshop, and we funded a tournament where they can debut.
That was Jessica's tournament. Inorganize niya ito with a student club in her campus na ginabayan namin all the way. And that's how they met. That's what we do here in AcadArena.
We turn gamers into leaders, casters, breadwinners. AcadArena is not just play.
Nowadays, everything must be done virtually to contain this virus, which reduces the efficacy of learning compared to face-to-face, which also affects our mental health.
The hardship I face sa ngayon is yung lack of income sa pamilya namin. And nung nagsimula ang COVID, naapektuhan talaga.
Welcome back, everyone. Summoners, welcome to the Alliance Games featuring League of Legends, co-presented by Globe. We just got back from two spicy games here. It's a 1-1. It's a 3-game series for a best-of-3 losers finals, and we are here for it. I'm Hyron. With me is Paru, and we're going to be very excited to show you this our final game.
Yeah, so both of these teams have shown, what they're like when they're ahead, what they're like when they're winning, like pretty much like almost their full potential, I'd say. So I'm excited to see what type of comps they'll pick this time around. With a 1-1 score, they know what works for them, they know what doesn't work, and we see the same bans again. We have Cass and Swain. They really don't want to risk the enemies getting those champions,
So much mid lane respect here, and actually both solo lanes are being respected hard on the side of Paradigm Verendus. Like Scourge and Iteration, these pocket picks, the Swain and the Vlad. I really want to see Iteration play the Swain at least once, but they're not letting them. They're not letting him.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's the game 3, so they're gonna try to perfect like the picks and bans this time. And we see PDG banning that Corki. Respecting that damage from the previous game. Yeah.
And it's just the inevitability of the scaling of a Corki, right? Like even with the kills that Victor got delivered, it's just a value of the champion, like the champion diff, the draft diff that was there, where we even with the kills Iteration had in the early and mid game, it wasn't really enough come late game to match the sheer potential that Ezreal Corki can bring. So they're taking away the Corki, and meanwhile MGS is taking away the surprise factor of the Yasuo as well. Victor being banned against Hillary here, it's really gonna be forcing him on like Galio or Ornn in this like tank mid lanes that don't really have a lot of carry potential, but he may have something else up his sleeve. What's their first pick?
Yeah, there's still Ari. Ari is still there, who can play a very, very safe lane as well as offer a lot of like roam potential, mobility, utility, and Shadow Blitz gets to play Gwen this time around. Yeah, in banning Yasuo and Corki, they are leaving a lot of like the contested picks from earlier open.
And
so
that's just how it goes for these drafts. You have to adapt and you have to make some trade-offs here. I do think that actually, you know what? Fine, I'll respect Hillary's victor enough to say that it's ban worthy on the side of Paradigm Verendus, but they're taking away a lot here from Hillary here, taking away the Ari. This leaves Hillary with less than ideal mid lanes. I'm not sure if he plays the Azir.
Yeah,
the Sandra could be something that he picks up. He plays the Orianna and LeBlanc, but those aren't really high priorities in this meta.
It could be the Galio again. But we see Wukong locked in for PDG. So Rocco's played Wukong before pretty well. But this time there's no Yasuo to combo with the nerf to Wukong, so we'll see if it's still a pick that's worth getting this early on in the game, in the draft.
Despite the nerfed clear time because of the reduced damage on the Nimbus Strike, Wukong is still very, very contested. Like 100% pick ban in the last week, at least in 12.12 games in Pro. And Hillary kind of teasing me with Azir is kind of telling me, "Oh, what do you mean you're not sure if I can play Azir? I can play it Azir. I'll bring it out right now." But they are just hovering it. Will they lock it in? Is the question. They do. And it does seem like Paradigm Verendus is kind of being shown a new side here by Hillary. How are they going to respond is the question.
And then we also have Invicta choosing the Lee Sin. So that's a playmaking jungler right there.
They
maybe
can play tennis. They can play tennis with Dragon's Rage and the
and the
Shurima
Azir,
Shuffle. Yeah.
I wonder who the unlucky person is gonna be, the one that gets caught as a tennis ball. Alright, so
Yeah.
Gangplank against Gwen. So both are very strong champions. Gangplank more on like the surviving early on and then offering his ultimate to his teammates early on, and then just being a damage source, a strong damage source in the late game.
It's like
and
one of
against-
those, okay, Dragon Fight, are you gonna teleport? I'll ulti. That's all I'm gonna do. It's like that meme, my job here is done, but she didn't do anything. Then he just flies away. But actually, Gangplank ulti is very impactful. It's a big... The damage is kind of negligible until you get the cannon upgrade, but the slow field, it's like one whole period of time where you're just like walking like you're in a swamp. And I think that's the value that this Gangplank brings. And it was banned before in our earlier games. It's open now, and Scourge is picking it up.
So the top lane might be one that's very fun to watch as well, with Gwen and Gangplank. Both of these champions are late game, like they can carry. When ahead, you really feel their presence in the game and in these fights.
It's really going to depend on the jungle ganks. And I think level 1's going to be important. Level 1 Gwen is like a puppy, like a sad puppy, right? And I think the Gangplank Scourge can really take advantage of that with his passive, leveraging his passive and his parlay to make sure that come level 2, level 3, Shadow Blitz is like whack. Like engaging for him and going for trades would be whack. I think level 1's going to be pretty important. But second banning phase, Tariq Zaya being banned away from Sunoco's Speckles. And of course, they're just banning away duos. And it's going to be the Nautilus Ezreal being banned out again. And it's a Zillion. Huh. That's something.
Zillion can actually be quite a menace later on, like when his damage, his attacks start to hurt, and plus, that ultimate it's not quite a Taric ult, but it does give the kind of like, okay, I can buy you out of this situation. It's the same kind of ticket, but a bit less.
So this does make me believe that they're saving a hyper carry last for Sunako. Like if you're playing Zillion and your AD carry is not a hyper carry, you're actually griefing, right? So what Sunako can bring to the table here he has shown us Zaya, he's shown us Zeri and Kalista. I don't think Kalista is the play for the Zillion. Zeri could be arguable against the Kaisa. That could be something that they bring out here. But if he could go for something like Jinx here or Tristana even. I don't think we haven't seen those in a hot minute, but
Ooh,
Twitch.
That's another hyper carry that actually could work with this, and it's going to be locked in.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't. Twitch came out of nowhere, just like Twitch is in game, and I do think, like this is very. I wouldn't say stellar, but yeah, if you're gonna go for a hyper carry and you don't have access to usual hyper carries, like the Kaisa was taken away from you, I guess Twitch is the best. It's just that they don't have a lot of frontline here. Meanwhile, MGS Mages, they have a lot of mitigation. Like, let's say Rako goes for the ulti in the Cyclone. That's their only real engage tool, right? Hillary can see him going for the Nimbus Strike and go for the Emperor's Divide. No need to Shurima Shuffle.
Yeah, so once again, it looks like MGS has like a more balanced, more like well-rounded comp here compared to PDG's comp, which does look quite scary, especially in the late game if this Twitch does come online. And then with a Twitch, you're gonna have to, with any hyper carry really, you have to rely on being able to one-shot him before he shreds the entire team. And although Gwen is there, Lee Sin is there, and potentially Azir as well. With Zillion there, they can't really just pop the Twitch and expect it to be done, because he's gonna come back and he's gonna continue to shred. So I think this is what PTG's going for here.
Yeah, kind of have the rat bait out a lot of cooldowns from MGS. They do have a lot of damage still, even if during the downtime where Sunako is in the animation where he's being revived by the Zillion ulti, Scourge is dealing a lot of barrel damage. Rako is racking up some damage with his Divine Sunder and his Cyclone as well. Baby Black Cleaver later in the game. And of course, Iteration, even with the Emperor's Divide, he can bypass it by Spirit Rushing to the side and maybe take out Defsu or Hillary. That's why Defsu is going for this cleanse right here to make sure that he's not like griefed by a double Zillion Bomb or the Charm. So I'm really liking it. I think MGS, once again, I have favored MGS's drafts. I do think that they have a very well-experienced draft, but Paradigm Verendus, they have that X factor, right? They have that X factor. They had the Yasuo, now they have the Zillion Twitch, and I do think that it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, this is more similar to their comp from the first game, when a lot of it was up to the execution. Like if they can pull off this comp, if they can pull off and then get ahead with these skirmishes, like this team went ahead is very formidable, and MGS might not be able to deal with it if they get left behind. So especially with Ari and Wukong both offering like so much mobility as well, it's very hard to catch for MGS. So many targets. What are they gonna do? But MGS's comp, they have Gwen.
Yeah, they have Gwen, Azir. I think that's what really sticks out to me. Like the Kai'Sa, I don't really favor Kai'Sa too much, but with a Rakan, it's a lot more acceptable for me. Both of these teams actually don't have a really solid, like, actual beefy frontliner. It's just it's like an AP. You have an AP bruiser, you have a bruiser like Wukong. Not really a lot of solid frontline, so it's really on who's able to. It's a fast-paced game, or not the game itself, but it's a fast-paced mental game of who gets to pull the trigger first, who's able to cash out the other first, and who's able to get the kill to force a 5v4, right? That's why they have the Lee Sin, the Azir can also do that, and then Defsu can come in with a killer instinct, maybe pick someone off. That's going to be ideal here. Meanwhile, Paradigm Verendus, they want to set up barrels here with Scourge. They actually have a lot of zone control here, even with the Azir in play, because of the barrels and his bombs.
Yeah, and like I do think as well that PDG is kind of scarier late game, definitely with the GP and the Twitch. Like the longer it goes on, they're gonna be able to deal a lot like safer damage at MGS. Like Lee Sin does fall off in late game. He's gonna be kind of like a kick machine.
CC bot, engage bot later in the game.
Yeah, so they have to try to get the win by the mid game. Like the win, like the goal has to be in sight for them already when it comes to mid game.
Though they do have a little bit of insurance. I think MGS has more insurance late game than Paradigm Verendus has. Like Sunako, of course, his positioning has been pretty good all throughout. Like 95% of the time, Sunako is at the right place during the team fight, and he moves where he should be. So that's important for a hyper carry like Twitch. For mages, their late game insurance is really just the Kai'Sa. If they can keep the Kai'Sa just out of range of Rako, maybe they'll be able to get through it. As well as the Azir. Azir is also like a second marksman when it comes to these team fights, plus a lot of zone control. Rako probably has to flash over the Shurima wall, the Emperor's Divide, in order to get to him. Nimbus Strike won't be enough. So it's gonna be exciting. A very dynamic fight here, a very dynamic matchup between these two. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to be once we're actually in game.
Yeah, like even though it's a game 3, so understandably maybe both the teams are gonna try to play a bit nervous. There's a lot at stake here. It is the last game that we're gonna have for today and for the playoffs actually. But these champs, like these team comps, they do want to get the kills and they do want to get ahead, and they become more dominant in that sense. So I just can't wait to see all of the action.
And of course, all this action, this is going to culminate in Conquest on July 23. That's when the finals between the winner of this best of 3 and Oblation Esports is going to be. We've got merch for you guys to see. Check them out. See if we want your feedback on whether you actually like the merch before you go in and buy them at bit.ly/AAXCQ merch to provide your feedback. We still have the weekend pass giveaway. If you share the broadcast, 5 people are going to be winning those weekend passes. And of course, you can tweet #AllG to get a chance to win 300 pesos worth of in-game credit for League of Legends.
Yeah, so Conquest is definitely the place to be on 23 to 24. And not just for the Alliance Games finals between one of these teams and Oblation Esports. There's also going to be lots of gaming and esports personalities who are going to be there. Kaide, Lipichu, Michael Reeves, and more. And there's so many programs and activities for all types of gamers. So follow the Conquest page. And
I think it's Conquest Festival. I'm really excited for the Genshin voice actors. We got Ratana, who voiced Yae Miko's English dub, as well as Leonie from Fire Emblem Three Houses, if you guys like that. And of course, An Yatko, who is Raiden Shogun. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff happening in Conquest as well. And of course, the Alliance Games has been a journey for everyone. It's like the road to Conquest, and it's culminating in this final week for our Conquest games all across titles. We've got Wild Rift also, I think, after this broadcast. And of course, just check the schedule. And here we've got the face-off here between Admit and Speckles here. The support matchup is going to be very, very contentious as well in this bot lane.
Yeah, and so we're in the game now. Again, just a standard start. Sometimes Twitch and Zillion, they're like that type of bot lane that can afford to do a little bit of cheesing at the start. But it looks like that's not what they're going to go for this time around.
Yeah, do a little bit of trolling, but yep, the rat is out of the bag. They're not going to be finding anyone to gank with a poison just yet. This is really a final game. Neither of these teams can really afford to. Hillary doesn't have items. Hello?
Oh, that's sometimes the nerves of a game 3 do get to you.
Yeah.
I wonder if he notices if this is maybe it's a visual bug, since his
Maybe.
teammates don't seem to be pinging either.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to see. If he hard loses, okay, he's recalling just now.
A bit of a late realization.
No, it's too late. It's too late.
Oh, that's
Aigo.
really
That is
not the
not it.
oopsie you want to make at game 3.
That's fine. He has teleport. He's just gonna have a really hard level 1 to 3 here. Assuming, depending on what his secondary runes are, he might just have to recall once he gets enough gold to get his first component item. Depends on what he's really building into. Most likely it's gonna be Ludens. But either way, he hopefully has something like Futures Market here. Nice level 1 from Defsu. Not really doing much, just really trying to contest the level 1. Because Zillion is weakest at level 1 when they can't reset his moms. But Admit does not like that damage from the poison.
And if this is Zillion at his weakest point, he's gonna be very annoying later on. Ooh, the flash engage from Admit.
Flash for that, and actually trades the flash here. It's actually a lot stronger to burn the flash on Speckles. Because Admit has the battle dance, right? He can go in and then go back to Defsu. Speckles doesn't have that luxury, so maybe go for a repeat engage there come level 3, level 4. Meanwhile, our junglers gonna converge around top side here and maybe get a gank here onto this Gangplank and this Gwen. flash over to avoid the stun. Defsu very, very decisive, trading back a lot of damage here against Sunako, but flash is a big cooldown to burn this early in the game.
Wow, both of these bot lanes are really playing like they want to have that lead. They want to win the 2v2 no matter what. You know, committing these summoner spells and, you know, I mean, it's what you would expect from a lane that has Rakan, like versus something like Zillion. Does want to keep engaging. So it does make sense, yeah.
Especially before 6 here, but of course Defsu. They're getting pushed back. Bomb latches onto him. He's just gonna have to be chill here. Meanwhile, top side, seems like not much has happened. I do think that the top lane played out level 1 to 3 the way I imagined it to, where Scourge leverages. Oh, Admit coming in with a Grand Entrance, coming back in. Yeah, that's the Rakan life. You just bait your opponents into thinking you're going for a hard commit when you can actually just battle dance back. But yeah, topside Scourge has been kind of bullying Shadow Blitz here. He's just barely keeping up in CS, a little bit of trouble under tower, but nothing too big, nothing insurmountable here for Shadow Blitz.
No, nothing big happening yet, but these bot lanes, the bot laners did burn some sums here. So this could be an opportunity that PDG can take, but at the moment, it looks like both teams are just trying to farm up and scale.
Really preparing for next Drake here, and with the way the lane has been playing out, it does seem like Sunako and Speckles will have the priority. Speckles is running out of mana here as well. Okay, not too much, only like 1/4, but it might be enough to make it so going for Drake is going to be a harder call for them. But mid lane does seem like it's a yeah, Hillary really felt that not having the starter items there. Like one wave of CS gap there when usually this lane should be even until iteration gets a gank or reaches level 6, forces the TP out to prep for Ocean Drake. And I think for now, MGS's PDG is just chilling. They're probably waiting for the Drake to come up. And it has been. It's Ocean Drake. Let's see how they contest that.
Yeah, so Ocean Drake, that's one of the better dragons to get early on, and I don't know, it seems like we can't really say for sure what's gonna happen or who's gonna be ahead in this early game. Everyone's just playing it very standard, with the exception, of course, of, you know, Early being a little bit behind in CS, but makes up for it by having teleport.
Yeah, now does have the Lost Chapter now at the very least, so his lane should be a little bit better. On the long run, this shouldn't really matter. Azir is just gonna chill until he gets all of his items and be able to hyper carry. They are gonna be conceding a lot here, but it does not seem like Rocco is going for the Ocean Drake just yet. They're gonna be letting Defsu and Admit get that recall out. The wave is just about even here, pushing into Defsu, but they have enough time to get back to at least get some of that back. A lot of pings coming through on Drake. It does seem like PDG will get this uncontested. Invicta is really focusing elsewhere on the map here. Ocean Drake not really a big priority for them, it seems.
Yeah, but Invicta, you know, Lee Sin's a very strong early game jungler. So I'm waiting to see where he's gonna decide to make these plays, utilize his champion. I think it's gonna be top lane.
Yeah, Scourge is gonna get slowed down here with a snip, needlework coming out. Invicta just has to W into the... Oh, flashes! Oh, big blunder, brother. Invicta. Good idea to go for the Flash Tempest first for the slow and ensure a better Sonic Wave, but he kind of went wide there. Scourge goes for the Flash. Good try there by MGS.
Yeah, it was a good attempt. I could see what Invicta was trying to go for in that combo, but even with the flash, he was still a bit too far, so it didn't really guarantee the Q hitting.
And a nice flash there by Scourge as well, burning both of his sums at that point just to get back to lane. No kills just yet. Drake already taken. Herald might also be contentious as well. It could just be a handshook by PDG and MGS. As it does seem like Invicta and Shadow Blitz will have the top side down pat once the Rift Herald actually spawns here. Meanwhile, PDG, they're still looking. I think with Rocco being level 60, he will start looking for a kill bot side, and I think Invicta, aside from his camps, is going to be sniffing that out, trying to go for a counter gank.
But Admit did just recall. So MGS spot lane, Depsu is a little bit vulnerable here, but Rako decides not to go for it. You know, there is a ward saved by Vision. So playing again more towards top side, but I'm very surprised that Invicta isn't going for more of these ganks.
Just being very patient, which on a Lee Sin you're kind of pressured, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I don't get a kill before 5 minutes, I'm screwed. And that seems to be a lot of the thinking with Lee Sin, but he might be playing it a lot more patiently, just waiting for that prime opportunity, maybe fight around a bigger objective or a counter gank. And at the moment, though, yeah, it's really a bit rough. But if he can find that one kill, one breakthrough in this first blood, then that might be worth all the patience that he has shown. Because none of these lanes have been gankable, really. Like, aside from that one topside gank that didn't really come through, they didn't really find anything. It seems like they're giving up Rift Herald once again. Invicta is not posturing towards it. Hillary doesn't really have the ability to influence that. He just has Lost Chapter 2 daggers, and Shadow Blitz does not have damage right now. He's a lot of damage. He has to go plated steel caps to match the poke of the parlay.
So PDG getting these early objectives versus MGS. But it's still nothing really to worry about since like you said, these teams both have like the late game potential. So they can always equalize, like find the lead elsewhere, if not for the objectives, maybe through these kills or ganks or even through farm.
And when it's in these times where there's no real kills happening, where your ability to make advantages when there's none is really tested. And Invicta, oh man, Invicta, I think they have full info on where Invicta is with all of these wards around topside for PDG. So they do have Invicta down in the information network here, which makes it very difficult. I talked about how it's when nothing's happening that it's tested on where you can make advantages for your team as a jungler. But having good vision on the side of PDG is just making it very difficult for Invicta. And Scourge should be expecting a topside gank here if any of their vision is any indication.
Yeah, but it looks like Scourge is just safe here, and we go to the 10-minute mark with the scoreboard at 0-0. This is this is like stark contrast to the first two games. And I think this is just really telling again, like this is the heavy atmosphere of a game 3.
Yeah, the tension is there. Like, it may seem like nothing's happening, but both of these teams are preparing. They're looking. They're hunting for advantages. And when a fight does break out, it may be like a gangplank powder keg. And, ooh, nice deny there. Speaking of powder kegs, but it might be like a barrel where it just explodes into a mess. And the next Drake is going to be something that's worth contesting. I think good invade here from Rako and Speckles here, trying to suss out where Invicta might be, prepping deep vision here for this Drake. They're waiting. They might go for a death brush here onto Admit and Depsu here. And the question is, will they get caught? No, it is going to be Iteration that gets caught. And finally, First Blood comes out. Invicta gets what he needs. Cannon Barrage comes in, doesn't impact the kill much. Now Shadow Blitz. He's going to be trading with this Gangplank favorably without that Cannon Barrage.
Yeah, doesn't look like there's a kill at topside, but it looks like PDG was trying to set something up for themselves there in the brush. But at the same time is exactly when MGS decided to make a play in the mid lane instead.
Yeah, I feel like Depsu and Admit felt a disturbance in the forest. Right? It's like, this isn't a good recall timer for them. Where the hell are they? You know what? Let's just go for Iteration. Let's not face check our jungle. You know, they secure Ocean. It's gonna be Infernal Rift here. Just easily jumps over. PDG does not get the team fight that they want. And it's like MGS playing this very, very patiently here. They give up first Drake. They don't care too much about the first stack of Ocean Drake. They have not actually, like, the Rift Herald has actually not done anything just yet. So they're going to be forced to summon it here, get a couple plates. So on top of the 100 gold and the XP they get from the Rift Herald is gonna give them like 360 from the plates. Actually, more than 360. So very good gold swing here by PDG. Let's see if they're gonna be able to take down the entirety of this turret, because they have this all to themselves for the next minute.
Yeah, I think they've got it. You know, with the new wave over there and 3 of them. Despite that, the gold is still pretty close. And yeah, and it does remind me that you've spoken a lot about the experience that the MGS roster has, and I feel like it's in these tense game 3s that is really important.
Yeah, it's like a cowboy duel or a samurai duel, right? You guys eyeing each other, waiting for who draws first and who shoots, who slashes first. And it does seem like MGS has the nerves to stay cool during all of these tense moments here in Shadow Blitz. Then going for invades here with Invicta, making sure that Scourge does not feel comfortable in his own lane here, forcing Iteration to kind of check what's up top side before going back to his own lane. But nothing too big happening. Gold skewed to gold doesn't really matter right now. The lead is like not there at all. But it's about the items. Who has their first items already created? Hillary already gone for his Leandries. Defsu has his Kraken Slayer. Does not have... I don't think he has enough AD to evolve his Q just yet. That's going to be a big power spike for Defsu once he actually does get it. Oh, Iteration going in. Everfrost missing. Charm coming through. He still does not have his flash anymore. Nice Shurima wall there. The Emperor's Divide to try and get him into turret range, but Iteration gets saved. And that's going to be 1 kill returned on the side of PDG.
Yeah, that's 4 dashes technically that Iteration has. So, you know, 4 opportunities to dash over that wall, but in general that was a good setup. Twitch does excel in catching people off guard like that, you know. So one assist, that's some gold on Sunoko, and that's gonna come very much in handy for his power spike and, you know, accelerating him to the late game.
Meanwhile, PDG, medyo sulit yung control ward here in the red side jungle of MGS. Once these bottom camps spawn here, is going to be a lot of info on where Invicta might be. It's actually surprising that they haven't been able to clear this. And the more that this control ward stays up, the more that they kind of have an idea just by deductive reasoning where Invicta isn't. But with Herald spawning here, it does seem like attention is around top side. Speckles looking for something. He has exhaust here, so even if he goes for the kick here, no follow-up, a little bit too late, but in comes a 2-man knock-up with a grand entrance. That's going to be nice. Zillion ult coming through as Admit goes down. Knockoffs from the Cyclone coming through. Depsu having to run away. Cleanse a little bit janky. And Shadow Blitz having to run away here. Dodges the Everfrost. Where is the next charm? One more hit will do it. Scourge picks it up with a parlay. And Invicta gives his life as Rocco picks it up. And that is 3-4 kills here in exchange for 1. And let's look at how disastrous this was. No follow-up.
Yeah, that was a good pick off of the pick on the Lee Sin, like being able to kick the Twitch back, but you know, they just didn't have like that snap decision making of jump on the Twitch, and that was all of the time that PTG needed.
Yeah, they were able. Oh, Hillary having to shifting sands away there, and yeah, in the end they did get the kill on Sunako, but by that time they were already all bunched up, fit for a Cyclone from Rocco, and of course Speckles bring out his bombs as well with a very nice res for his team there. Then MGS, big swing here in favor of PDG. They're gonna have to fight harder if they want to take this 3rd Drake of the game.
Yeah, so this is when it gets a little bit heated. Like we saw like a few errors. For example, like the cleanse there. So it is getting very tense. As the game goes on, it becomes more difficult to keep like your composure. Like
every mistake is 1 step faltered away from conquest here. Invicta taking a lot. Charm coming through onto Admit, having to battle dance over, but their dashes still keep coming. And the Shurima wall, the Emperor's Divide, not quite enough. An Infernal Drake, first stack of Infernal, being taken by PDG. MGS, no payback.
Iteration is really good at getting these picks. You know, being able to if Ari can just quickly, close gaps with the ultimate, and then you have to sidestep the charm, you have to sidestep the Everfrost. But in the mid lane just now, Sunako and Speckles just completely melted Desu right there.
Not really Defsu's day right here. Rift Herald gonna come out as they took it earlier. They're gonna ensure at least one turret take from them. That's even more gold onto Sunako and the rest of the gang here, making it into a 6k gold lead at this stage in the game. This is gonna be very difficult. Invicta has his Gourd Rinker, but doesn't really have enough value to get through at this stage of the game. The rest of his team has not had enough here. Gonna get knocked up with a Cyclone. In comes Hillary though. Nothing too much, but they do repel them from going all the way to Inhib. And MGS, they haven't reached their power spikes just yet. Just their first mythics, but for Kaisa, for Azir, it's not enough. They need more time.
Yeah, the alarm bells are definitely ringing now for MGS, since a game that was somewhat even just now turned into a very PG-sided, and it looks like they're extending the lead even further with another kill onto Desu. You're right, this is really not Desu's day. And now that PDG has like a bit of a lead, even before this fight, when PDG was able to get a bit of a lead during the dragon fight, they just kept on pushing it. They felt they're really escalating the game, trying to make it go faster before MGS can really catch up. So they're not just trying to fight for objectives or for towers, they're trying to fight whenever they can, now that they're ahead.
And that's really how you extend the lead with this kind of comp. It's a not very well-rounded comp. It's a very specific application here. It's like comparing a Swiss Army knife to a hammer, and PDG, if all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. But lucky for them, every problem that they have encountered here is a nail, where they can fight it out, they can hammer it out and get out ahead. Still though, they have to be wary of the Azir Kaisa and coming into late game, and of course the Gwen is going to be no slouch here. And even if Invicta has not built up a lead, he's still a kick bot, and that's going to be very, very risky for Sunako to come in unprepared.
That's true, it could still really go either way. But at the moment, PDG, from the previous games, we've seen how PDG can really take advantage of any gaps or weakness that they see in the enemy team. And I think they are looking to just speed it up and try to extend that lead as much as possible by utilizing Ari and Twitch's invisibility to catch the members of MGS off guard. And it's up to MGS to try to turn it around by not allowing PDG to do that instead and getting their scaling into the late game.
I think the play here for MGS, wow, look at all that vision full topside for Baron, but the play here for MGS is they have to use a lot of their abilities defensively. Invicta can't be the one to go in. They have to let PDG come in with Rocco and Iteration, and then force them away with Dragon's Rage, because Invicta right now can't really assassinate everyone. He's on this usual Gourd Drinker build. So he has to use his Dragon Rage to make space for Hillary and Defsu. I don't think right now they have enough damage to take down Iteration or Rocco or Scourge if they catch them out. They're just gonna Orange CC Cleanse or Decoy away or Spirit Rush away. If it's Sunako, sure, maybe they can get it, but that's assuming Speckles doesn't zillion ulti him. So they just have to make space for Hillary and Defsu in these fights, and slowly scale them up so that they get their next few items.
Yeah, but in the meantime, looks like Dragon is gonna come up soon. So this is another fight that they will be pressured to take.
Doesn't seem like they're able to get it though. Invicta is one level down, and that's the worst thing to happen when a big objective is up. I think Drake might just get taken with PDG, and that's 2 stacks of Inferno plus Soul Point, which is going to be big. But it does seem like MGS is posturing for a topside gank here onto Scourge, trying to make something happen, but PDG is hot on their tails. They have to back up here, or they're going to get caught in a pincer with Cannon Barrage.
Yeah, and Nurli is still at bot lane with teleport available, and
Oh no, Defsu gonna be able to back away here, but in comes a flash with a Cyclone, just dodging death here, but Invicta gets taken out, being caught in the wolf camp here. And I think without the jungler, PDG feels confident enough to go for a Baron play. Unfortunate for MGS, their positioning was just not quite there, not decisive enough to get the gank on Scourge, but not evasive enough to dodge the gank coming in from Rako.
yeah, the compensation that they do get is a dragon, so that puts less pressure for of soul point on PDG's side, since they really happen to already be at bot side. So they were still able to make a trade. So they're still hanging in there, but PDG does have Baron now, and they'll be looking to make a push.
Yeah, they can extend their lead a lot more with this. It's already 8k with a Baron. They can probably push in some side lanes, get those waves out, and then steal jungle camps from Invicta. And that's going to be really grueling. This is kind of a famine for this Lee Sin now. And PDG, they're just in their comfort zone. They know that all of their carries here have their power spikes at this point. Over Scourge has kind of just been chilling. He's been mostly getting assists from his Cannon Barrage, as well as just the piecemeals of his damage. The bulk of it is coming from Iteration, Sunako, and Rako, but that's fine. He's scaling up. Meanwhile, Sunako already has Bork and Kraken Slayer, and Iteration can just catch someone off with the Everfrost.
Ooh, so right now trying to make this push in mid lane, but even then, even with the lead PDG has, it's still very scary for them, since you can't underestimate the engage that a Rakan and a Lee Sin have together.
They just have to hold out, I think. MGS, that's the play. It's okay if they get sent all the way. It's going to be a kick, though, onto Iteration, immediately going onto Speckle, so there's not going to be any Zillion ulti right there. Sunako goes down. Iteration next on the chopping block. Counter Barrage going to be a lot of chip damage here. Defsu going to get taken out of position. Another Weird Champ Clans coming in, and Shadow Blitz unable to fight back against Rako. One more crushing blow could do it, but it's still going to be 4 for 2. And oh wow, MGS... 20 seconds on the death timers. PDG, they can't quite end it, but they can put a big hole in the wall here for MGS, take their top side, and that is going to be huge for PDG. Look at that.
Yeah, so MGS, you were just saying that MGS had to hold on, but they decided instead to go for the confident engage, and it did look very good at first. Like, the target selection was there, able to pop the Zillion before he can use his ultimate. But then all the damage coming up from PDG is just too much, and they were able
And the
to
Cannon Barrage was huge there.
Yeah.
That was basically them caught out in the open, MGS with their pants down because of the Cannon Barrage. The big shutdown on Shadow Blitz is good, but they're still facing an 8k gold deficit here with Hillary and Defsu not quite having their third items yet. Meanwhile, Iteration and Sunako, they're about to finish it after a couple more waves here or caps for this Twitch, and it's gonna hurt a lot. And Scourge slowly scaling up, 3-0 and 6, 3 items down. His crit is building up. He's gonna become a big threat.
Yeah, so MGS can still, there's no threat yet for Soul Point, really. MGS can still hang in there and farm up. Like, I think Invicta's engage there would have actually been like the best thing to do if only they weren't as behind. Like, it could have worked out for them, but it just barely didn't. And later on in the game, that might be different. It might be a different outcome for those team fights. So, like you said, MGS just has to hold on for now.
And that's really the problem here. Like, yes, Defsu is 3-4 and 0, and I think this is emblematic of why Kaisa is not as favored as other marksmen in this meta 12.12, because the range is short. She doesn't have the same ability as Lucian, nor the same synergy with Enchanters or Braum. Oh, but they can't get this quite easily here. Rako goes down. They have to pay for it with Defsu's life once again, and they're gonna get pincered here unless Shurima Shuffle comes in. Iteration has to dash over the wall here. Nice grand entrance, but no follow-up means that Sunako just cleans up here with a triple And MGS keeps forcing these fights over and over. They get great engages, but they just don't have the damage. And they're not in complete position. And PDG, this might cost them the whole game, the whole series, the ticket to conquest. PDG with a flourish, punishing MGS's mistake, bearing their fangs. Paradigm Verendus with a paradigm shift, going into Conquest 2022. 2-1 goes to the NEU Era University squad, and MGS, their magic flickers and fades into dust, their arcane powers fading into nothing as they get kicked out of the Alliance games this split, and PDG locks in their slot to face off against Oblation Esports in Conquest 2022.
Yeah, just look at their faces of celebration there. They earned that. They earned that with such a fast turn. Like this series, this last game, it started out slow, but then once PDG got the advantage, they were able to just ramp it up and keep ramping it up, and MGS just couldn't catch up, and it was completely on PDG's tempo.
Yeah, and MGS, they seem kind of out of it. Like Defsu's positioning was just whack. And I mean, if you compare how he positioned in these fights compared to Sunako, it's like night and day. Sunako was always at the right place, right time, on the same page as his team. Jacob, Defsu, he sort of didn't really do much for his team. Even though he had a couple kills on his belt, his positioning was just off. And I just don't think that Kaisa is the play in this meta. There's like I discussed before the game abruptly ended. Kaisa, I don't think Kaisa is not it. I think they would have had a much easier time if they were able to pull out something like anything else. Even I think even a Felios could have done it if they wanted someone that could act as a traditional marksman. But Kaisa just has so much difficulty being relevant in today's meta, especially with like Wukong being very, very prevalent. It's just such an easy recipe to get knocked up and get picked off.
Yeah, MGS tried, but sadly they won't be the ones going to the finals this time around. The series, they did give us like some really, really fun to watch games. Like I was really expecting a lot of like 40-minute farm fest games, and I got like pretty much the opposite of that. So I think kudos to both of these teams. Both did really well, but PDG will be the ones that we will be able to watch in the finals against Oblation Esports at Conquest.
And what a story, right? What a story for Paradigm Verendus. They come in here, they immediately got sent to the lower bracket by Oblation Esports. They claw their way back into week 2 against LPU Pirate Esports. They power through against Gearhawk's Monster Belt Prodigium. And Gearhawk's MVP was one of the teams that everyone was thinking would reach at least like winners, semis or losers finals. But they beat that. They destroy the Mages from Mapua in a 2-1. They get their redemption story all the way from day one. And they are going to come on July 23 to face off against the very team that sent them to the losers bracket on day 1 of Alliance games. What a journey it has been for these teams, but it's not over yet. There's that last boss that they have to overcome.
Yeah, and that's going to be a series to remember, you know. Not just because of, you know, the potential that these teams both have. Oblation Esports and PDG has shown themselves as well to be like this powerful team right there. But we're going to be watching this action live. You know, they'll be playing in a LAN tournament in Conquest. So, you know, it's going to be something, it's going to be really something to watch, something to remember. And I think, you know, the playoffs for the Alliance Games League of Legends really ended with a bang.
Yeah, looking at the bracket, you can see how kind of the storyline of how all this went down. Oh man, that was definitely a series to remember indeed, and we're gonna get another series to remember, and I think that's gonna be a best of 5 on the finals on the stage of Conquest. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And as for MGS Mages, I really expected a lot more from them. I have to say that, to be quite honest, I'm a little bit disappointed in this roster here. They've been together for since at least last split. Jacob, Hillary, the rest, and they just weren't able to give a performance that was within expectations. But it's not over yet. I mean, for this split, it is over. But the road to the summit is always an ongoing process, and I hope that they can bounce back in the next split of Alliance games.
Yeah, but for now it'll be the rookies coming to the finals, and I just can't wait. It's a best of 5, right? So I'm hoping to get all of the games we possibly can. Make it like a
5-game series.
Make it a 5-game series. Let me hear Silver Scrapes in real life. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be ideal indeed. But I think that's all we have for you for the playoffs. We're gonna take like a week break before we this 15-16 for the League of Legends, and on the 23rd, of course, we're gonna have the finals, and the 24th, we're gonna continue all the activities at Conquest as well. So hope to see you guys there. And of course, the Alliance Games wouldn't be a thing without our sponsor. We are co-presented by Globe Telecom, and of course, Globe at Home, fiber strong, family strong, with the new G Fiber Unli 29.9 and Globe at Home. And you're getting up to speeds of 150 Mbps, unlimited internet. So just check out shop.globe.com.ph/broadband. And of course, for all of you guys that won the weekend passes, just wait for the message from the AcadArena page. Make sure that you share the stream publicly as well. And of course, the hashtag AllG tweets. Man, what a day it has been. And I think that's all we have for you guys. Paru, anything last few words to say before we end our broadcast?
I have nothing to say. I'm just excited. I'll see you guys at Conquest.
Yeah, see you. We'll all be at Conquest, man, and we'll be seeing everyone. Like, it's been so long. Like, no in real life conventions for esports, no real life events. It's gonna be so good to see everyone in person again. So see you all there. We have been your shoutcasters. I'm Hyron. With me was Paru, and we will see you in Conquest 2022.